Welcome to the Knowledge Entrepreneurs Show, where we celebrate the innovators driving change in the education industry. At Edison OS, we've worked with over 500 knowledge entrepreneurs to turn their edtech ideas into profitable businesses. Thank you so much for accepting the invite to be a part of this podcast. And
Pleasure.
even though I've told you what is the purpose of this podcast, I'll kind of, run it through to you again, so that, the next 90 to 120 minutes, we are aligned on that. And so, as the name suggests, you must have, figured out by now, the Knowledge Entrepreneur Show is a show by the knowledge entrepreneurs for the knowledge entrepreneurs. Okay, our guests so far have been knowledge entrepreneurs, meaning any entrepreneur who's running a business by offering knowledge as a service, right? It could be, you who's helping people crack IELTS and then get a PR, and it could be other people, who are teaching music, sports, and academics, and all of these people. Or it could also be some people, who are building products around the education domain in
That's good.
software. So that is also part of this domain, the way we look at it. And but when we have guests, we definitely do speak about their business, what is their business and all those things. But mostly the purpose of the show is to talk about the things surrounding their business, how it was started, under what circumstances was it started, what are the difficulties, highs and lows in running the business.
Right.
Is it the outcome of this podcast need not have to be, okay, follow these 10 steps to become a successful entrepreneur or something like that. In fact, we've had guests who've run successful academies and they have moved on to consulting business after 15 years.
Mm,
So they were successful, but then they've moved on. So
mm,
this podcast can also throw light on, what it takes to be an entrepreneur. You could be somebody who's listening might be a teacher trainer, but training in a company or teaching in a company, being paid on a monthly basis, that's a different thing.
mm,
And then taking a leap to start your own business, and then after that, it changes. Will you be still continue, will you still be in a position to teach? Will you have that bandwidth, or should you become a businessman and source students? And all these things, what happens through this is that even their cup of tea, it not
mm,
only is going to help them figure out how to run, it can also help them figure out whether it is for them. And it could really save people from getting in and getting out, and they can rather decide, no, you know what, I will rather be a teacher and a trainer and focus
mm.
full time on that. That's where my strength lies and my focus interest lies. So I'd rather
Correct.
be that. So it could also help them like that. So that is the purpose. So
Correct.
this podcast will also focus on, Ajay, how you started your company, Maple Assistants, and
Mm.
your journey, a little bit of your personal stories and all those things, right? So
Understood.
that is what this podcast is going to be. Great, Ajay. So we'll get started. My first question is a light one. It's an open-ended question. It's more personal because, before we get to know anything about Maple Assistants, I think it's very important to know Ajay, the person. What was his growing up like, his childhood, and then, how did this whole project of Maple Assistants start off and stuff like that. So if you can walk us through your childhood, and your journey leading up to this point, where you're sitting here talking about Maple Assistants, that'll be an amazing start to this podcast, Ajay.
All right. So, first of all, thank you so much for having me here, Jag. So, it's been an honor. It's a pleasure to be here with you. And to give a basic introduction about myself, I was born and brought up here in Coimbatore, so a district here in Tamil Nadu. And I should say that I really had a wonderful childhood. I had the privilege of going to a very light school here in my place. And in fact, my college, I did my engineering, electrical and electronics engineering, from a very reputed institution here in Coimbatore. It's called Coimbatore Institute of Technology. And I mean, I wouldn't call myself an extrovert. I would love to be an introvert, but I don't mind speaking to people and I don't mind addressing people. That was always been a part of me. So right from my school days onwards, I really loved performing on the stage. And when people appreciate the performance, that actually gave me a high. So that made me, I felt that I should be there where people are able to see me, where I delivered something and then people appreciate me. I really loved it. Right. So that was there. That was part of me right from my childhood. And I used to be a performer. And then and there, when I got a chance, in even in school, when there would be no volunteers to go to the front and give a welcome speech or whatever, I used to be the one. I really didn't mind making mistakes. Yes, I was nervous and stuff, but I really didn't mind making mistakes. I wanted that attention, maybe at that point in time. Maybe that gave me a high, I don't know. But I was always there. Whenever an opportunity presented itself, I would love to grab it with both my hands. And that's how it all started. So then what happened, like I was part of an organization during my college days, which was it was very similar, like it was by the students for the students, right? So there was a different category colleges. There was tier 1 colleges, tier 2 colleges, tier 3 colleges. So we had the privilege of being there in the tier 1 colleges. And a tier 3, tier 4 college student, even though he's my friend, he didn't get the same exposure what I got. So this organization was formed for that. And like we were addressing the stuff to the tier 4 colleges, tier 3 colleges. We were helping them out in terms of skill set and other training programs. I was an active member of all these things. And we started a company even when we were in our college days. So at that time, I still remember, it's called Student Software Solution, wherein like 12 heads from 12 different colleges were picked. And we started a company. And I started a company by name Ace Software Solution. And that was during my second year, third year college. And we were able to get some projects, convince few people, designing projects and small software projects which we were able to do. And among those 12, our company did really well. And like I received an award from Mr. Patsadi. He was the one of the founding member of Mindtree that point in time. So these things, always, I mean, I felt that, I had that urge towards starting up something. When I understood my passion is towards training, teaching people, interacting with people. I really love doing that, helping people out on a particular skill set, helping them manage stuff, educating them, whatever I knew, educating them on those things. So I really loved that. And also, I had this entrepreneurial stint. So, like, for a brief point in time. So, I was really fascinated about this. And my college is really good at placements. So, they somehow managed to bring a lot of companies. And I was able to secure job offers in a couple of companies. And now came the dilemma, because it was a pretty good, very good MNC company. Now the dilemma was to whether start a company, which was my passion, or should I go be smart, take up an offer, which was a fantastic offer at that point in time. So my parents were not convinced in me starting a company, like any Indian parent at that point in time. They were not at all convinced with me starting a business and stuff. But something told me that, this should work. It should work out. I had good company. I had my friends who were also equally passionate. So I wanted to do this with them. So I spoke to them. I tried convincing them. After a point in time, you cannot convince your parents, right? So
Yeah.
they accept it. Doesn't mean that they are convinced, right? So they don't have an option either.
Right.
What happened was like, at a particular point in time, like they said, like, okay, fine. If this is what you really want to do, go give this a try. Maybe give it. They thought like, okay, this guy's going to give it a try for maybe a year or so, and then he's going to come back and maybe we'll get him another job. It was the thing. But the moment I went ahead and I had a clear business plan, my plan was to, educate students. My plan was to be amongst the students, educate them, help them out, right?
Right.
And when I had a solid idea in my hand, with the experience that I had, I was able to penetrate the market easily, for some reason. And frankly speaking, that was a setback to me, because I had early success. Early success is something that an entrepreneur shouldn't have. That's what I
Yeah.
personally feel. Early success is really dangerous, frankly speaking. I heard early success, things went on well, and my parents, okay, then they felt, okay, this guy is doing something with his life. Not sure what he's doing, but he's doing something with his life, because I was not depending on them for money. I was not giving them money though. At the same time, I was not dependent on them, but we were registering a company. We had an office space. We had people working for us, and all those things were set up. And when my parents were seeing, like, they were pretty happy, not so convinced, but they felt like, okay, this guy is up to something. So let's see, let's give him some more time. So things went on, and that's how it all started.
Right.
Frankly speaking, I would give the credit. You asked a very really good question. You asked about the childhood. I would credit this entrepreneurial sting to my childhood, because if not for that environment, if not for the people who were surrounding me, I really don't think I would have chosen this particular path. So to answer your question short, fantastic childhood, amazing parents, and great friends. So I enjoyed it, frankly speaking.
Got it, Ajay. So, Ajay, so you up until now haven't worked at all after your graduation. You've
Nope.
only okay, great. You've been an entrepreneur all along. Amazing. Um, so you said after your graduation you got a couple of offers, but then you were always passionate about starting up, and then you started up. What was? Can you deep dive into that first startup of yours? What was it about? And I mean, did it sustain? You spoke about a very interesting concept about how an entrepreneur shouldn't have early success. It's dangerous. I think I might have experienced that a little bit, and I'm sure a lot of people resonate with that as well. So what happened? So when you say that, it means you were successful initially, and then something happened, and then probably you uh, you went. So what happened after that? And if you can, if you can also share the details about what that startup was, and then how long was it successful, and why did you say that it's dangerous for a entrepreneur to have his early journey successful?
Okay. Right. Fantastic question once again. Um, okay. So I'll answer the first part of the question. So what
Right.
happened? What was my startup? I started up a company called as Happy Miles.
Okay.
Happy Miles was the name of the company. So we were into education sector. We were targeting colleges and schools. We were training people on placements. We were helping them out on aptitude, on clearing their interviews, and building their personality and stuff. So the thing was, initially when I started, I was doing all my research. I didn't start my company here in Coimbatore. Even though I'm from Coimbatore, this is my battlefield. I never started my journey here in Coimbatore. Rather, what I did was, like, we made a research, we did a research, and we understood that there are tier 2, tier 3 cities here in Tamil Nadu which requires our services more.
Right.
So I don't have to lift the heavy part like how I have to do here in Coimbatore. In case when it comes to a city like Coimbatore or Chennai, what really happens is that there are already a lot of players, and the institutions are having a bit of exposure.
Hmm.
But when you go a bit south or like to other places, you don't get to see this, right? So we wanted to cater to those students.
Right.
Then I actually started my thing of in a juncture in a place called Namakkal. This is here in Tamil Nadu. So what happened was, we had our office over there, and we were able to cover a very good belt. Like, we were able to cover this Rasipuram, Namakkal, Salem, Erode, even Coimbatore. Right? It
Okay.
didn't mean that we never had clients in Coimbatore. No, we had clients in Coimbatore. In fact, I did my training in my very own institution, CIT. So we had premium institutions as well. At the same time, we were focusing a lot on these institutions. So
Right.
what really happened was, frankly speaking, Jagmohan, this success itself was a surprise to me. I never
Hmm.
planned this thing up. So what
Right.
happened? Like, I still remember, 2010, got out of my college. 2011, we had all these things ready, and we were hitting the road. That point in time, when we went to Namakkal for the first time, they were looking at us as God. You know, because we had the language and we had the background. So the moment I told them I'm from CIT, I was getting a red carpet welcome, and
Right.
people were able to associate with me, and they wanted, they obviously felt that okay, there is something that this guy could contribute.
Right.
And penetrating the market initially was very easy. All I have to say was like, I have to share my brochure, I have to explain what I had for their students,
Right.
and give a glimpse of my background. That was more than sufficient for these institutions to say okay and sign a deal, right?
Right.
So initially, what really happened was, now coming to the second part of the question, why is early success dangerous?
Right.
So in my case, what happened? Um, Generally, when you go to these kind of smaller towns like Namakkal or Rasipuram or Salem or Erode, what happens is like all the institutions, you will have 10 institutions, 15 institutions, right? But the thing is, all the institutions, they are connected some way or the other. So this is uncles, this is niece, this is nephews, some way or the other, these are all relatives only, right?
Right.
So what happened was, we put up a really great show in one of the institution. I had no clue that this institution had connections with all the surrounding institutions.
Right.
The moment the word came out that students were really happy, and the during the last day we invited guests over to come, and the management also, people from the management came, and we were showcasing what we did, and students were giving testimonials, and it was a fantastic show, went really great. And what really happened was, the word quickly spread to the other institutions,
Hmm.
right? So other institutions, instead of we approaching the institutions started coming to us,
Right.
and they wanted to sign up with Happy Miles. They wanted us to be a part. At that juncture, what I personally was doing it, I was doing all the heavy work, heavy lifting. I didn't really have a team. It was just a team of three people.
Okay.
I take care of the training, another person to take care of operations, another one to take care of the marketing. It was a very simple team. We really didn't want to be, crorepathi's or all these things. We wanted to try this thing out. We were really young at that point in time. 21 was when
Right.
I started. 2021 was when I started. So how we think at
Yeah.
that age, right? So what really happened was, um, institutions started coming to us, and when then we had to hire people,
Right.
because the volume was huge.
Hmm.
It's
Hmm.
like we have to give training to 1,000 people, 800 people. There is another group of institutions there, a massive group of institutions where they have close to about 30,000 people, and they wanted us to do it for all. Then we were like surprised, like, then I didn't know what to know, because I was totally new to this.
Right.
So hiring started.
Right.
So hiring left, right, and center. And the moment you start tasting success very early in life, like when you're 21, 22, and when people start coming to you and they say that, hey, you are my inspiration, you have done this, you have done that. I'm not talking about students who walk up and compliment you. I'm talking about professors or assistant professors, managements who come and tell, hey, you've been doing a great job, I've never seen something like this. Then that gets to your head,
Right.
right? And you think that you're invincible, right? And you think that, oh my god, I've taken the best decision of my life. And even the money, right? So early success in terms of money as well,
Right.
right? So you start getting money, then you think of getting a headquarters for yourself, you think of getting a executive table for yourself and a chair for yourself. You invest a lot on these things which are really not required, but kind of a show off to a 21-year-old, because
Right.
my friends were sitting in MNC companies making 25,000 a month, paying PF, this, that, and after the deductions, 18 to 20, 25K. And I was like solid six figures, right? So I thought, okay, I have cracked the code. My life is settled. My life is for good. And then the reality came. Then the reality hit, the market reality. So I was playing around with this 10 institutions, but the reality is not just 10 institutions.
Correct.
You have to, if you're building a team, if you're making something up, then obviously you have to scale up. Scaling up was a problem.
Right.
Getting the right people inside your team was a problem, right? And slowly the institutions are not going to be having the same passion that they had when they signed up with you, right? So initially when days go off, then they also know you, they understand you, and they get exposed to a lot of other companies as well. That's the time when other companies from Chennai and Coimbatore were also penetrating this particular market,
Hmm.
right? So they followed this strategy of mine, and where, I mean, I wouldn't say that it was my strategy, but again, they felt that this is a very good market, and they also started coming in. And it also started getting crowded, so these institutions started having options,
Right.
right? So then your business goes and it hits a low, right? And then you think of like, okay, what really happened? So it was not a failure. I wouldn't call my first business as a failure. It was going good.
Hmm.
It was fine, but the actual failure is because I felt a burnout. I was like
Right.
exhausted, right? I personally think that when you're passionate about something, when you're doing something, you should not get exhausted. But I was, at one point in time, I was completely exhausted the way it was going. And because hiring trainers was the most difficult thing, because for them, nobody see training as a profession, right?
Right.
For them it
Right.
was a bridge. Maybe 1 2 years they come and then they leave. So I train people. I put a lot of effort in training these people, send them out for train the trainer programs or whatnot, all the workshops. But after 2 years, this person leaves. So
Hmm.
again, I'll have to bring in a new person. So building a team, these things were a real hassle. And then finally, I think 2015, I decided, okay, it's time to say goodbye to this particular business model. I was pretty sure about my skill set.
Hmm. Hmm.
I was confident of my strength.
Hmm.
All those things were there, but I felt the model was not working for some reason. The reason is because doing the training is one,
Hmm.
getting the payment from these big institutions is a total different thing.
Hmm.
Maybe I'm not good at it, right?
Right.
So at that point in time, when 15 lakhs, 20 lakhs check gets held by the institution for a span of 6 months or like 8 months, 1 year,
Right.
it's a big amount for me. I cannot source this one from my end. And if I have to do it, then again, I have to get it as a debt or a loan and I have to pay interest. And it was not adding up. The numbers were not adding up.
Right.
Institutions very coolly, they say that, hey, Ajay, the next year order is yours. So I'll be paying this. So they never pay you. It's not that they don't pay you at all, but they don't pay you on time. But
Got
I
it.
have to pay my trainers, I have to pay my team, and I have to take care of the logistics and other things, right? So
Right.
this was not adding up for some reason.
Got it.
And that's when I decided, okay, we'll stick to training, but instead of we going to companies or sorry, the institutions, colleges,
Colleges.
I decided, instead of working it as B2B, why not let's try B2C, directly catering to students, right?
Right.
So then we shut down all our operations in Namakkal. We had an office there in Namakkal, and we had an office here in Coimbatore as well. At that point in time, we actually shut down the operations in Namakkal. We had a very small office there in Chennai as well.
Right.
And we closed down all these offices, and then we focused more on in-house training. We wanted students to start coming in.
Right.
So I wouldn't call my first thing as failure. It was
Hmm.
working, but didn't really go the way, or it didn't really work out the way I expected it to. So it's still not a failure, but a lesson, I would rather say, but didn't go the way that I expected it to. That was a small story about Maple Assistance, how it started, where
You
it
mean
went.
Happy Miles?
Happy Miles, yeah. Sorry, yeah, it's Happy Miles, yeah.
No, that's not a problem. I can clearly see that, it was not about, you just made a decision to get out of that business model for whatever reasons. It's not
Correct.
about, it was not like there was no market for that business, because some of the
Mhm.
businesses that has shut down, from my conversations, it is because either they were too early in the market,
Mhm.
there was no market and stuff like that. But I think this is a little different reason. It didn't meet your idea of a business, and you thought,
Mhm.
you could have a better version of a business, and that's why
That's
you
right,
probably moved
correct.
on. But I'd like to, dig a little more into Happy Miles, because you may have shut it down, Ajay, but I think a lot of value can be got out from this conversation, in terms of, because it is expensive for people to make mistakes themselves and learn from it. Rather, if they find out from other businesses what went wrong, maybe they may not, although all businesses are not same, The circumstances are different, but still I think some insights can be brought out of it. So just a few more questions before we move on from Happy Miles. So Happy Miles, you started in 2010, 2011, is that correct? And
11.
then it went on till 2015. So just about 5 years of running Happy Miles. And 5 years is a very good time to run a business. You wouldn't have run it if there were no profits, or you were still making money and stuff like that.
Right.
So what was the peak revenue you hit while you were running Happy Miles? And was it in the middle of the 5 year period, or was it towards the end of the 5 year period?
So the revenue, see, frankly speaking, when I decided to quit Happy Miles,
Right.
the revenue was still there.
Okay.
We had our loyal customers. We
Right.
had it was tough for us to say no to these institutions because
Right.
they were a part of Happy Miles for a very long time. Three
Right.
years, 4 years is a very long time when it comes to this business. 2 3 years itself is a very long time because the institution keeps shuffling the players.
Right.
This year they call this vendor. We had loyal customers in Trichy, we had loyal customers in Coimbatore, we had loyal customers in Namakkal, Salem
Right.
region,
Right.
right? It was hard for us to say no. And I was able to hit a number anywhere between 5 to 6 lakhs in a month, right? This was
Okay.
the numbers we were actually hitting at that point in time. And we were a team of, if I remember it right, I think it's around 15 to 16 people,
Okay.
including the office people, meaning the administration, the
Yeah.
HR, the operations, and stuff, right? So 15, 16 people.
Right.
So I wouldn't say the numbers was bad.
Hmm.
Numbers was okay, but the thing was it was not coming at the right time.
Hmm.
So it has to happen at the right time, especially when it comes to numbers. There is no point in someone coming and giving you 5 lakhs extra when you really don't need the cash. But when you
Right.
need it, even a single rupee is going to be really important, right?
Right. Right.
So 5 lakhs we used to get, we used to make this money because obviously the running cost itself was really high at that point in time.
Right.
Without this money, we couldn't actually run the show. So
Right.
we were making the money. It was not, it was neck to neck. It was kind of breaking even. And we had our profits. We have taken the profits. We have reinvested that in our business to explore a few different things. We have hired creative people to give a different flavor to training. We have tried out all those things, and we have spent a lot of money on research as well,
Right.
right? So we were making quite decent money at that point in time, but that wasn't good enough, frankly speaking, right? So on any terms, making someone who was making like 4 5 lakhs a month, and if he's even making a 50k 60k profit, still would have made sense. But for us it was not working out. The numbers were not working out, and also I was able to sense this burnout, right?
Right. Right.
I was feeling tired here, and to achieve these numbers I have to put in a lot and lot of effort. So didn't really make sense to me to go ahead and continue the same model or the same business the way it was going, because obviously it's going to give you the same results, right? And again, another reason would be like lot of mushroom players also cropped in. I should definitely mention this,
Hmm.
right? Lot of mushroom players also cropped in. And 2011 it was a different story, but 2015, by the time it was 2014 2015, the story was totally different. So
Hmm.
what happened was all these trainers, who train for a particular company, they come out of the company, they understand the business, they come out of the company, 2 3 people join together,
Right.
they go to an institution and they tell that, hey, if you are paying 1,000 rupees there,
Hmm. Hmm.
we can
Hmm.
get
Hmm.
this done for like 200 rupees, 300 rupees, this cheap
These are
thing.
the
And
people you're referring to, the mushroom players.
mushroom players, right?
Right.
Small companies and all these freelance groups.
Got it.
So institutions, not all the institutions, they care about the reputation, or some institutions they want to do it, they want to give it a try, they want
They
to do
have
it for the
things on a
sake of
tight
it,
budget. Yeah.
right? So they are on a tight budget, yeah, correct. So maybe ours don't fit their budget. So
Right.
then it kept on getting crowded here, the space got crowded here, and I cannot afford to bring down my prices because I was giving something of quality,
Right.
right? And I cannot bring down the prices like you compare this with another thing, then you cannot compare apples and oranges.
Right.
So institutions start comparing, hey, this fellow is doing for this, and this fellow, why not you come down on
Right.
your prices? We'll give you more numbers. But again, I felt that I should not do a business that way. It was not making sense for me. And all these things, it was not just one thing that made me okay, like let's stop this. It was a culmination of all these, one after another. So then I decided, okay, this is somewhere not working. Money is
Got it.
not coming on time. Very hard to retain these trainers, and mushroom players cropping in, and the numbers every month I'll have to put in that effort. Because like I take 10 trainers this month, five of them would leave the company. So the very next month, so I have to take in another 10 people. So it was not really making sense. I felt that it was I was not going anywhere. If
Got
at
it.
all
Got it.
I
Yeah.
was making exponential, then it would have made sense. But no,
Right.
the money was still the same. And but I was doing a lot of heavy lifting, and I was wearing out, frankly speaking. Then I felt maybe no, this is not the way we need to work. And people in the company were making money, but I was not making money. So then that was an indication, right? So for
Yeah.
any founder, like this was a clear cut indication, right? In spite of achieving a lot, in spite of having a very good base and stuff, if the money is not there in your bank account, then something is wrong. It's leaking somewhere.
Yeah.
Then I thought maybe I should take a call, right? So enough for now. I use the same brand, but not for outbound trainings. Now we used Maple Assistance. Maple Assistance became an in-house training program from, I think it was 2015-16 at that
That's
point
when
of
you
time.
started Maple Assistance.
Yeah, Happy Miles was coming down. No, Maple Assistance was started a bit later.
Okay.
Not at 2016. It was around 2018 I started Maple Assistance. I'll come to that story maybe
Right. Sure. Yeah, we
shortly.
will.
Yeah,
We will definitely talk about Maple Assistance. But the backstory of how I think that's where I'm trying to get a detailed picture.
right. Yeah.
So, Ajay, Happy Miles, you were the only founder, is it, or you had two more founders with you?
They were not founders actually, but
Okay.
they were a part of the team, right? So
Okay.
again,
So they were under you. You were the solopreneur. How it
not a
started off.
no. We these people, I wouldn't call them. You can call them maybe co-founders, but they didn't continue for long,
Got it.
right?
Hmm.
So they were there for initially they were there with me, but after a year or two, like one guy, he was into IT, so he started something on his own in
Hmm.
IT.
Hmm.
Close friends of mine. Another friend, he took his way and he was into something else, right? So
Got it.
we are all still friends and very close friends, in fact. But each one into a different field right now, right? And they were there with me, like, yeah, for some time. I would say
Got it.
like
Got it.
2.5 years, 3 years.
Got it.
So yeah.
Got it, Ajay. So when you decided, 2015, you're going to wrap up Happy Miles, I'm sure, you must have, there is a reason why you're doing that. And you must have already been thinking, okay, these are the mistakes I've made here. I'm sure you're already looking at your next startup and then, not committing those mistakes and then making it better. As an entrepreneur, I think it gets a little more exciting when you're going to wind up one business and start another business because you're so much more wiser. And then,
Mm.
you do not want to do those things and you know how differently you're going to do that. So, from that perspective, not from the business model, the Happy Miles business model. Let's leave the type of the business you were doing in Happy Miles. Let's simply take it as a business, right? As a business, what are the lessons that you took away from Happy Miles? Domain agnostic lessons.
So one thing, if you want to build a successful company, it is not about you, it's about your team, for sure. Right?
Hmm.
You might be having a $1 billion idea, you might be having a skill and expertise. It's going to take you maybe a mile, but if you want to go miles, then you definitely need to have the team,
Hmm.
and you need to have a team with a vision, right?
Hmm.
So when I'm talking about team, I'm not talking about people who you pay money and they work for you for a month. They give you your 8 hours time. No, that's not the kind of team I'm talking about.
Hmm.
You need to have a team who believes in you,
Hmm.
who sees value in
Hmm.
what you're doing, and who
Hmm.
are committed, right? So this is absolutely important. And I would say that, one learning was I learned it a bit late,
Hmm.
right? So one thing is that, you have to attract such people in your team, and you cannot force people to believe in your vision, right? So
Right.
to a certain extent, I felt that, I was forcing my team to see the way I think.
Hmm.
I'm seeing it, right? They were not getting the picture, but I was trying to force them into my vision and stuff. That didn't really work, the 100% commitment was not there. So frankly speaking, that is number one, a big lesson that I learned,
Right.
right? So it's very hard to find that one person who can be a part of your team. Even to find that one person, it might take a lot of time. Sometimes you may not even find that teammate, right? So
Right.
your business can go like that as well. We really don't know. This is one.
Right.
Number two, um, choose to handle money wisely. How do you
Hmm.
handle money?
Okay.
That's absolutely important. Absolutely important, right? So my biggest lesson from Happy Miles was not to invest on things which are not required for a span of 1 year. Okay, I
Hmm.
was investing things on temporary stuff, you know.
Hmm.
So my office space, I took an office space. This is a classic example. I took an 4,000 square feet office space. I was
Hmm.
paying a rent of like 40, 50 grand. I'm talking about 2012, right? It may not be a big money right now,
It's
but
huge.
2012,
Yeah. Back then, it's huge. Yeah.
that was huge. We had classrooms, we had a lot of facilities, but we didn't really make use of those facilities. And
Hmm.
we had a team of 15, 16 people. This 4,000 square feet office space was just a meeting hub for all these 18 guys. Maybe we could have
Hmm.
gone with a co-working space, or we could have done anything we wanted with that money. But I chose to do this. And not just that, investing in the interiors, that's when you get the high, right? You start making money, then you think of, why is this a wooden door? Why not make this a glass door? Right?
Right.
Why not have a wallpaper instead of, painting? Why not do a coat here? When you enter, you need to get the vibe, and these things don't really matter. End of the day,
Right.
what matters is the value that you give to your clients, and the money that comes to your bank account. These are the two
Right.
things that really matter. You don't have to look rich as a company,
Right.
you have to
Right.
be rich as a company, right?
Right.
So that's really important, right? I was trying to look rich. That was one important lesson that I again learned from me, from Happy Miles, right? Another thing which I would tell you, or a lesson that I learned is, you cannot be everywhere. You cannot be everywhere. I was
Right.
doing operations, I was doing training, I was training my trainers, I was the one who was negotiating with the management of institutions. I was the one who was present everywhere, right?
Hmm.
And that is not going to work.
Right.
You putting your time into building curriculums, you putting your time in training the trainers, you putting your time in, negotiating and closing the deals. No, that cannot work. That's going to wear you off, right? I
Right.
was doing all sorts of things, and that didn't really help my case, right? So
Right.
that's something that I again learned, right? So I cannot be everywhere. I
Right.
should choose a particular thing, and I should stick to those things, right? Otherwise, it's like lighting the candle in both the ends, right?
Right.
Might look bright, but I'm going to go off very soon. So these are some of the key takeaways, frankly speaking, from Happy Miles, right? So I was very conscious that I shouldn't repeat this ever in my life. So
Got it, Ajay.
key lessons that I learned. I'm really happy that I was able to learn this in my 20s, right?
Yeah.
Some people learn this in 30s and 40s.
Yeah.
When
Yeah.
I listen to top people speaking,
Yeah.
I'm really glad right now that I at least, I had this privilege of learning all these things in my mid 20s. So still
Right.
good, yeah.
Great. Just for a listener's sake, let me quickly summarize these three lessons I took away. Just please add if I missed out something. The first one is, you said, I would rather take it like this. While you're building your core team, it's very important to have people who are already uh, thinking like the way you're thinking, who already have a vision similar to yours, and there's no point forcing them into your vision, at least in the
Absolutely.
start. And then the second
Absolutely.
one was don't spend the money on unnecessary things. If the business can run without something, it has to run.
It
uh,
has to run.
that need not have to be an important thing to be invested in. And the third thing was delegate is what I would take it from you.
Mm,
You're
correct.
asking, you say that you've learned that things has to be delegated so that you are not burning out and you can still be there to sustain the business. I'm sure these are common mistakes people will do when they're over enthusiastic and they're overly passionate about their business, because it's their
Mm,
baby, right? I mean, they want to make
correct.
sure that nobody else is messing it up and stuff like that. But yeah, got it. In fact, you know what, I had a conversation with one of a young entrepreneur, who's about 27, 28. She's based out of Indore now. She's got her company in Gurgaon. Her name is
Mm,
Oshin, and she runs a company called InfiSpark, pretty much into training. But then,
mm,
she takes programs from corporates to students, like, Microsoft, AWS. And then, she had an executive assistant
mm,
to a CEO. And then none of the other founders that I talked to had something like that. And then, she explained how much time it saved for her,
mm.
and how she doesn't have to look at the grunt work, and, it just frees up so much. And then your efficiency as a CEO increases so much. So that's what I was thinking of when you were talking about delegating and stuff. Great, Ajay. So Ajay, moving on from Happy Miles. Happy Miles ended in about 2015, 2016. You start Maple Assistance in 2018. And now talk about the years between closing Happy Miles and starting Maple Assistance, because I'm sure this is a very critical period. It's a phase of transition. I'm sure you had a lot of thinking to do. I'm sure you had a lot of doubts, because Happy Miles, you would have been aware of not repeating the mistakes that you might have repeated in Happy Miles. You would have thought a lot. So can you walk us through in as much detail as you can between Happy Miles and Maple Assistance?
Happy Miles and Maple Assistance, both are actually intertwined. It's
Okay.
interconnected. So I'll
Mhm.
come to that. But
Sure.
talking about these 2 years, 2015 and 2016, in
Mm,
fact, very, very crucial years of my life
mm,
personally,
mm,
because during my college, I was in relationship with a girl,
mm.
and this relationship went on for 7 years, and I had to break up at that point in time. I had
Oh,
this ugly breakup happening at 2014, 2015.
okay.
Had this breakup, and that was when this Happy Meals was also taking this bad shape and stuff. So
Mm,
2015 was a very, very dark year for me. It was very
okay.
dark. And frankly speaking, my team stood with me. They
Mm,
know, they know
mm,
it, and they stood with me. And it was a very difficult year at that point in time,
okay.
2015. But by God's grace, I was able to come out of that quickly. And
Mm,
in fact, my business helped it. So when you're an entrepreneur, you don't get time to
yeah.
think about all these heartbreaks and stuff, because you have people whom you have to pay, right? So
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
cannot take this. You
You have
don't
no
have this
time to
luxury.
sit and,
You don't have that, right? So
yeah.
I didn't really have the time. So in fact, it was a blessing. Frankly speaking, it was a blessing
Right.
in disguise.
Right.
The situation was a blessing in disguise.
Right.
2015, 2017, when I decided that, I slowly started telling my team, okay, this is what I'm thinking. I may not be able to give my 100%, and you know what's happening in my life, and you know what's happening with Happy Months. I sat my team down. There were few people, 4 5 people, to whom I was personally responsible, whom I felt that they were there with me right from the start. So I
Right.
felt that I'm personally responsible to address these people. So I called these guys up, told them, hey, this is what I'm doing. And then I told them that what they should do and what they can actually do, and what all things that I can do from my end to help them settle down, because they were getting a salary here, and all of a sudden I cannot say that I'm
Yeah.
going to fire you and you have to leave. No, that cannot work. So I made a smooth transition to all these 4 5 people. I got them jobs with companies, and make sure that they were properly settled. Still in touch with those guys. That's a beauty.
Amazing.
So these people, once this was done, then I started preparing for GMAT.
Right.
2015, 2016. Like what goes through your mind. 25. I was 26 at that point in time. I guess 26, 27. I guess 25, 26, yeah. And I started preparing for GMAT, and I
You
always
wanted to
wanted
do
to
an
do.
MBA abroad, is it?
I wanted to do an MBA in the top 1% universities,
Got
right?
it.
I was very specific with, I had my list as well. So I thought, okay. And my parents were really worried because they knew about my relationship and this breakup and stuff. So they wanted me to get married, settle down, because they were really nervous, like they don't know what I'm going to do. Obviously, parents,
Yeah,
Indian
yeah.
parents, South Indian, typical South Indian parents mentality. And I told them, okay, give me 1 year, right? So I've already, this is a more like a rewind. Give me one more year, so I'll try to figure this thing out, right? If not, I'm going to say yes to whatever you tell me,
Got
right?
it.
And I started preparing for GMAT, and I was doing all my preparations. I think my GMAT score was around 680 or something,
Okay.
six out of this 800. Okay. And I had few institutions in my mind, and I was no way close to those institutions. Those
Right.
institutions are like, they required a lot of score. Like mine was not so close.
Okay.
I was not okay in studying with the second level, third level institutions. I was not okay with that. If I have to do an MBA, I have to do with elite schools,
Right.
right? So that was there in my mind. So that didn't really work. And then now my parents came. They knew that this didn't really work.
Hmm.
2016, they came out with all the proposals and something, and like 2016, I actually got married.
Okay.
So 2016, my marriage happened. That is when I had to rethink the whole stuff, like what was happening in my life, right? So I had to
Right.
rethink the whole thing, because now it's a totally a different scenario. Getting
Right.
married, so it's a completely different scenario. So what am I going to do? Like, what am I going to do with my life? And I already had this idea. So that business idea is not working. It was always a plan to start my in-house training program. So
Right.
2016 is when I decided, okay, so now since my GMAT thing didn't work, and I said no to universities, I then decided, okay, once I get this 10, 15 years of experience, then I'm going to do a direct executive MBA in top institutions. Let MBA not my cup of tea. So I told this to myself.
Okay.
Then what happened? Like I started Happy Miles itself.
Right.
The name remained the same, but the business model was totally different.
Hmm.
It was an in-house training program this time. The beauty of this in-house training program was I was able to do it all by myself. I didn't really require a team. I
Yeah.
was I was sitting there. I had an office space, 1,000 square feet, a decent office space, and I was sitting here, and like I was doing my marketing. I know this marketing stuff, the local marketing. I was learning all those things, I should say. All this Just Dial guys and all this lead providers, Suleka guys,
Right.
talking about 2016. All these guys came in handy. I started getting leads. The good thing is, when a person has a lead, they come to the office space. The conversion rate was really good because they were talking to me directly.
Hmm.
Whenever a person talks to me, it's easy for me to sell something to a person because
Right.
it's from my heart. Like when they see the passion, they believe this guy who can add value, and they sign up, right?
Right.
And then 2016, what really happened was I was not making the money that I used to make with Happy Miles
Hmm.
initially,
Hmm.
but my bank account was making a lot of money. So Happy Miles as an entity was making a lot of money, but Ajay as a person was not making that much money. But when I was doing this on my own, I understood, I realized that, okay, oh my God, like all this money is coming to me now.
Directly.
So
Correct.
so finally Ajay is making money, right? I was
Hmm.
really surprised, and that is when I understood the power of working alone, not just
Hmm.
working alone. And and the amount of work that you do, so when you're having a team, naturally, for some sort of reasons, you do all these meetings and stuff, and your time goes unproductive, right?
Right.
But when you're alone, you tend to figure out all those things, and you accomplish a lot of things, and money starts flowing in. I was really surprised at this, right? So when money started coming in, I was really surprised, right? And I was able to get a very good response from Coimbatore. From all of a sudden, it became a Coimbatore only company. Happy Miles
Hmm.
became a Coimbatore only company, but I was able to receive very good reception from students as well as even people who are working professionals. They all started coming in, right?
Right.
So this is the time, 2016, when I started my in-house training program. For the first time, I introduced IELTS. Why I introduced IELTS? Because while I was preparing for GMAT,
GMAT.
I was doing this GMAT thing as well as IELTS. As
Right.
an So I was very familiar with IELTS. And I included these programs as well, and then people started coming in for IELTS.
Right.
Lot of people started coming in for IELTS, right? Then I was doing this, and I had one freelance trainer whom
Hmm.
I actually know, and he was taking care of the aptitude, right?
Right.
So I used to pay him on an hourly basis. So I used to get the money directly from the client. So it's like all of a sudden, from completing the training program, waiting for 6 months and getting the money, now it changed to, if you want to start the training, you pay the money first, and then let's do the training.
Right.
So the whole narrative also changed, right? And it was working out wonders for me. 2016, 2017, again, that's when it slowly started taking off. And this really what happened in this, 2015, 2016 years, right? This was a bridge.
Great. You spoke about it in 10 minutes, but I've got so many questions about it. Let me start off with this question, Ajay, just for the sake of um, see, one of the important things when you start a company in your early 20s, it also coincides. It may not, but for some people, it may not. For some people, it may coincide with their personal life as well. Just like you said, you were in a relationship. Unfortunately, you underwent a breakup and stuff. Could you please share? I'm not saying that it's going to be the same for everybody, but it's all learning at the end of the day, right? So for people, for the young entrepreneurs who are in their early 20s, who are running a company, who are also in a relationship at the same time, what are the lessons? What is not lessons? What are some of the important things that you'd like to share from your experience? What went wrong for you?
See, frankly speaking, when you're in a relationship,
Hmm.
right, and
Hmm.
when you're a founder, or when you're starting up a company, when you're doing something on your own,
Right.
right, when you're responsible for yourself, right,
Right.
you have to, the communication with your partner has to be absolutely clear, right?
Right.
Where is it going? How do you see yourself? And what if this happens? And what if this doesn't happen? This communication part is really important,
Right.
because otherwise you will get hurt. And this hit is going to, this is going to hurt you badly at some point in time,
Hmm.
right? So when you're getting into these things, and you know about yourself, right? You know that you're an entrepreneur. You
Hmm.
know that this is how you cannot spend time.
Hmm.
For an entrepreneur, that again is going to be a serious problem.
Right.
You're hustling like 12 hours, like 14 hours, right? You don't have time to sleep. You don't have time to send messages and bouquets and take her out for a dinner or something. That's not going to happen,
Right.
right? And your partner should also know this, right? And if they don't understand what you're doing, frankly speaking, this is not going to go long. Even if you get married, it's still going to end up in a, maybe, I don't want to say this, but it may not last forever,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
Because the life of an entrepreneur is completely different from a person who's working for a company. This is two
Different
totally different
worlds.
things, right?
Yeah.
So this entrepreneur might be making less money than an employee, but still he has more work than an employee,
Right.
right? So this is something that the partner should also understand,
Right.
right? And you as an entrepreneur, it is your responsibility to explain all these things and to put all these things in place, right? And at the same time, one more learning is that when you're an entrepreneur, when you have an idea, when you're working on an idea, when you're working for a company, when it is growing, it is by nature, you spend a lot of time, thought and effort into this thing. You
Right.
may tend to forget that you're in relationship, and you may even tend to do the regular stuff, right?
Right.
But it's really important, if you're an entrepreneur, if you're an young entrepreneur listening, I would say yes, your business is important. At the same time, your relationship is equally important,
Hmm.
right? So it's
Hmm.
equally important, because it can make or break your business,
Hmm.
trust me,
Hmm.
right? So I recently came up, I was reading a blog, and this was this guy, I forgot his name. He was interviewing, he was in touch with 7 or 17, I don't remember the number, 17 billionaires or 7 billionaires.
Hmm.
He was asking for one thing,
Hmm.
right? What is the best advice that you could, literally, like, not the same words, but all these 17 people, all the billionaires, they gave this thing: good wife, good life, right?
Right.
So this plays a part. So you might be having a successful business, you might be having great, but if your girlfriend is angry at you for some reason,
Hmm.
you're not really successful, my dear friend. So make sure that you're properly communicating stuff, and also make sure that you're spending time, healthy time, on your relationships as well. It doesn't really apply to your girlfriends alone, it also applies to your family,
Right.
it also applies to your friends. Being an entrepreneur, I'm pretty sure you have lost friends. I have lost friends because I don't hang out with them. So like, we lose people. These are also lessons, I say, like, communication is the key, right? If you're able to communicate, right, when you're an entrepreneur, you expect other people to understand you, but they
Right.
may not. Other people may not understand you, right? So it is your responsibility to communicate that with people, so that the boundaries are properly set, expectations are very clear, and you try your level best to meet that, right? So this is ultimately the key, is what I actually believe.
Got it, Ajay. So, for founders who are in their early 20s and who are also in a relationship, things, one thing that Ajay has said is, communication is key. Do not assume that they will understand that you are an entrepreneur, because you are the entrepreneur. They're not an entrepreneur. So they may not know exactly what is going on with your life. So I think crystal clear communication is what is important. Uh, Not necessarily to sustain it or not, but when that happens, you get a clear outcome. You know that probably what. So, Ajay, can I say this? Can I please correct me if I'm wrong? What took you 7 years to, kind of come to a conclusion in terms of the relationship? With better communication, would you have got the conclusion, good or bad, much earlier? Could you have saved time? Can we look at it like that? Is it the right way?
Absolutely, yes. See,
Okay.
in my case, the breakup was not because I was into business. It was not fully because of this. It was for family reasons. We are
Hmm.
from different religion and all the other things, right?
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
this was one of the. I mean, it was the most important factor, wherein the other things also played a role.
Hmm.
But I really like the way you have, phrased your question.
Hmm.
The answer is actually yes. If
Okay.
at all we've had sat down,
Hmm.
and we knew this,
Hmm.
but we didn't really want to address it. That's a problem.
Mm, right,
We knew this was coming.
right.
We knew for some reason that this is not going to work out, but in spite of that, we really wanted to give this,
Mm,
try it, push it to an extent. And then after 7 long years, when you break this thing up, right, it hurts you badly, right?
yeah,
But if at all, like, that's the reason why I really loved your question. If at all we had sat down,
yeah,
maybe in the first year, or even in the second year, sat down, let's see, like, okay, let's see, like, where it's going and what's
right,
going to happen.
right,
If we have had an open conversation, and
right,
if we were willing to accept the reality,
right.
both of us would have saved a lot of time, energy, and heartbreaks. Should have saved
Heartache.
ourselves some
Yeah,
heartbreaks.
yeah.
Yeah. So this is ultimately really important, not just in terms of business. Communication is the most key aspect when it comes to any relationship and for your life, right? So,
Got it.
and you should not be afraid. You should not be afraid to have these sort of critical, crucial communications. Yes, sometimes it's going to hurt you sometimes, but that's the reality. We have to face it. We have to go
Got
through the
it.
process, right? Instead of the process and the thing coming and hitting you, if you are able to understand it, and if you're able to part ways, it's going to save a lot of your time.
Got it, Ajay.
That's
Thank you.
first
Thank you
job.
for clarifying that and taking that question little. I think it's a sensitive thing, and thank you for really addressing that, because communication is not just a thing. Earlier communication, don't postpone your communication. Do the
Correct.
communication as soon as possible. It can save a lot of time and heartaches as well. Got it, Ajay. So, Ajay, you said, you were, of course, when you said that, Happy Miles, you were not kind of winding up, you were kind of winding up the business model, you were changing the business model, you were making it more of a classroom training than, you going to the client's place and training. And then you said that it showed a lot of difference. And you also got married in the year 2016, and during this time you were giving it a shot. You were giving foreign MBA a shot. You did your GMAT, scores went up to the mark. You were clear about not getting into institutions apart from the ones that you'd shortlisted. I think that's in the I think there's a lesson there as well. A quick in and out of this topic, if at all it add value to somebody. You're trying to say that MBA, if not done from the right college, is not gonna be you didn't value it that much personally. You wanted an MBA from a certain college and not just an MBA from any college. Is that correct?
That's absolutely right. That's absolutely right. So when I completed my engineering, when I told about my business plan to my parents, the first thing they asked me, if you're really keen into business, why not you do an MBA? Right. So they
Mm.
really wanted. They asked me this question, why not an MBA? So if you're really that keen into business,
Sorry to cut you short, because you are talking about something that I also wanted to address. Probably this is a question for that. I was wondering, 5 years of business, and then you suddenly decide to do an MBA. What was the thought process behind that? If I can also add this question.
MBA was always there in back of my mind,
Okay.
but I didn't want to do an MBA for the sake of doing an MBA.
Hmm. Right.
Right. So because see, I was an engineer and I was training all these MBA grads.
Hmm.
Right. So when I was 22, 23, I was doing sessions for 26, 27-year-old MBA grads and decent B schools. I would not call them elite, but definitely decent B schools. And I
Right.
was not happy with the way things are here. Right. So I wanted to do an MBA from an institutions where you like, yes, this is an MBA. It should be like that, where you really learn stuff.
Right.
It's not about the degree behind your name. No, not for that.
Right.
I really wanted to do an MBA where I explore things, where my ideas evolve, where I'm able to connect with like-minded people, and that's the sort of MBA that I wanted to do.
Right.
And here in India, it's like you have to go to these elite IIMs and this thing and that thing. The problem is the route to get into the IIMs is the CAT. So
Right.
they don't value your experience, they don't value the person you are, the personality. It's
Right.
all about the CAT. 99.9 percentile, then yes, you are in, otherwise you are not.
Hmm.
Right? Yes, there is an interview and stuff, but still. But wherein when you take MBAs outside India,
Hmm.
right? So they look at what you have done in what's your experience, right? The
Right.
average class age is like 30 years old, 30, 31. That is when they do the MBAs, right? And people come from different backgrounds. Marine
Right.
people come in, right? Scientists come in, researchers come in, and the engineers come in, right? So founders come in. It's a mixed crowd, right? So that's the kind of classroom I wanted to be in. So
Got it.
that's why I had the list of institutions
The networking
that
that you
okay.
could probably make with all those.
Yes, obviously. And it's not just about the networking, it's about the learning part. When
Right.
you're filled, I really want to be the dumbest person, right?
Hmm.
In the room.
Got it.
Because that happened in CIT. That happened in my engineering college. I was the dumb person in the engineering college, and I was able to learn a lot of stuff, right?
Right. Right.
So I felt that I should not, when the learning was coming to me from one end, only then I can give it to other people on the other end, right? So since I'm into
Right.
this field, so I really wanted to be in such an environment which is challenging, which really wanted to push me off my limits.
Right.
And I wanted this diverse crowd, the connections, the networking and stuff. So I wanted to be here. I didn't
Right.
want just another MBA. So that's where all this thing came up. MBA was always on my mind, back of my mind, but I really didn't know where to start, how to close it.
Right.
But 2015, this break actually gave me the chance,
Hmm.
opportunity to give this a shot. So I just made use of this opportunity because Happy Miles, I was trying to wind this thing off, and personally also I was not in a proper shape. So I thought I'll put all the energy here,
Got it.
and that helped me give this a shot,
Got it,
give
Ajay.
MBA a shot. Yeah.
Got it. And you said, you got married in 2016, and you started this classroom training before your marriage or after your marriage?
It was just few months before my
Few
marriage.
months
So
before your
my
marriage.
marriage itself, and that's another story.
Yeah.
If you have the time, then
No,
yeah.
no, I have a lot of questions. Why? Because I mean, majorly, right? Most of them, in our culture, our society, marriage, while a man is getting married, he needs to be employed. He needs to have the capacity to provide to the family, right? The reason I'm talking about it is you are winding up Happy Miles in 2015. You were probably not employed at that point in time, but you're talking about you getting married. Uh, how did you position yourself as a failed entrepreneur and you were probably not employed? Is it because your family was well to do and that was not a concern? That's where I was trying to. come in, Ajay?
Family was always a support. Family was definitely an excellent business card for me, because my the profiles of my both my mom and dad was really good.
Hmm.
uh, they had really good connections, and all those things were definitely there,
Hmm.
right? This again is something that I've always thought of. But the thing is, when I say that I winded off Happy Miles,
Hmm.
it was not literally.
Hmm.
Literally, the thing didn't go off.
Hmm.
I told you that there were few loyal
Yeah.
clients,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So for them, I was still catering. Even
Hmm.
this point in time, I was still catering, and this was
Okay.
going undercurrent. It was happening.
Got it.
This Happy Miles thing was happening undercurrent. And 2016, see what really happened was, when I asked for 1 year. My
Hmm.
parents gave me that 1 year.
Hmm.
I couldn't accomplish what I wanted to,
Hmm.
so my MBA thing didn't really work out. So
Hmm.
obviously, I have promised them that, okay, if this time it is not working out, I'm going to say yes to whatever you're telling.
Right.
And my parents wanted me to get married.
Hmm.
I was really not in that great mood or in shape to get married at that point in time.
Right.
But I told myself, I sat down. That's the beauty of entrepreneurs, when you hit the rock bottom, you talk to yourself, right? So I sat down and I was telling myself, right, so I didn't do anything wrong in this relationship, and
Right.
maybe I'm going to live for another 50 years, maybe 75, 80 years. Then I still have a lot of time. I cannot be moaning on this thing. I cannot keep crying over this thing
Yeah.
for a very long time,
Yeah.
right? And for me, I was very particular, right? For me, change has to be quick. If you
Right.
allow me to meddle in this thing for some time, then I'm going to sink into this thing, and I'll be totally sold out to that idea of feeling lost and stuff. So I always keep myself engaged. I always keep people around myself when I'm not in the best of my moods, right?
Right.
So that's when I said, okay, I told, okay, maybe, anyways, marriage is going to be inevitable, right?
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
if I'm able to get a company early, right, I'm fine with that.
Hmm.
And the profile that I had at that point in time was still Happy Miles. I
Right.
was still
Okay.
showing this as my profile.
Okay.
Happy Miles was my profile. I was making some money, if not great money, but I was still making some money, which acted okay to the thing, right?
Got it.
And what happened on the flip side was, my wife
Hmm.
she liked me.
Hmm.
And during the proposal and other things, I was very open. I told her, hey, like, see, this is me, and this is my 7-year-old relationship. This is what I'm doing. This is the money that I make. I don't have tons and tons on the bank account. And I was very clear, because this time I knew the power of communication. So
Right.
I cannot mess it up, right? So you
Right.
spoke about
Yeah.
lessons learned, right?
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
started implementing my lessons.
Yeah.
So I sat her down. I told her, like, this is what it is,
Hmm.
and I really don't mind you telling a no to the
Hmm.
proposal.
Hmm.
Totally not a problem, because it was completely an arranged
Hmm. Hmm.
thing, right?
Hmm.
So I really don't mind if you want to give it a no. Absolutely cool with it. Absolutely okay with it, and I'm fine with this thing. So I just told her, absolutely open, and I communicated the same to her dad as well as to her brother,
Hmm.
right? I told them, like, what is what and how things are, right? And the only person who was not okay with this thing was my mother-in-law.
Got it.
She wanted her daughter to get married to a person who's in a, secured job, who
Safety
goes
first. Yeah.
safety first, 9 to 5 and stuff, right? So gets a pension, whatever. Right? I mean, no harm. I have a sister, so I totally understand their feelings now.
Okay.
She was not okay with it, so that didn't really take off.
Right.
The first time we met, this proposal came, that didn't really take off.
Okay.
After a few months, what had actually happened was, like, this girl was part of my church. I go to the same church where she goes. Like, we both are part of the same church,
Okay.
and I used to see her. So every time I see her, I used to say hi.
Okay.
Obviously, you cannot act awkward and weird, right?
Oh,
So,
so
like,
even before you met this girl for this arrangement, you knew her.
no, no, no.
Oh, okay. No.
After this
After this
arrangement,
arrangement. Okay. Got it.
this didn't take off.
Oh, okay. Fine. Okay. Got it. Hmm.
This didn't really take off for the next 6 8 months. Nothing really happened, didn't
Hmm.
really take off.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
But she used to come to the same church. Now I know this person because I already spoken to her, right?
Right.
So I
Right.
used to
Right.
see her. We used to wave hands, and We literally have had a word, but
But in the 6 8 months, you didn't see anybody else. Your parents didn't bring you more
that was
profiles.
going on.
Oh,
That
okay, fine.
search was, that
Going
hunt
on.
was going on. That I didn't see anyone
Got it. Got
person,
it.
but
Got it.
my parents were
Well,
searching left, right, and center.
got it.
And for me, in a way, it was actually I was actually enjoying, because I was not in I was not 100% ready for it and all.
Right. Right.
And
Right.
being a business guy, nobody gives you a girl, right?
Right.
So every time they go pitch in my profile, obviously for this reason, some way or the other, it may not work out, right?
Right.
So they were really stressed and all these things. It was all going on, right?
Right.
And what really happened was, it's an interesting story, frankly speaking. So this girl, so she liked me, the way they approach and stuff. So she liked me, and parents also liked me. I really liked the girls, and I was very open. Like, I really liked the guy. I knew nothing about her, but I liked her. But nothing really took off. So this was the 6 8 months
Right.
break.
Right.
For some reason, this thing again came up.
Okay.
This the same proposal, which this boomerang, and it again came up. This time it was even more a serious talk, like this thing happened, and serious talk. Then we started talking to each other. Between we started talking each other, and I asked her, like, it didn't really work out between us. What was the reason? May I know the reason why you said a no? You guys told a no, totally cool with it, but
Right.
what's the reason? I just want to understand, so that next time when I go approach a girl, or when my parents are finding, I can present myself better. So it's just a casual talk, and she's told, like, no, 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 we all liked your profile. My mom was not so convinced. And oh, okay, then I totally got the point,
Right.
right? Then what really happened was, they wanted to reconsider it.
Mm.
So the family wanted to reconsider it, because there was a lot of common points between our family and her family. There were few common people, so who kept on telling that, hey, this guy is really good, and the family is really good and stuff. And then they wanted to reconsider it,
Right.
and then we again sat down as a family. So this happened. My marriage thing was a it's a story for itself, frankly speaking.
Okay.
So one fine evening, both the family meet. We catch up
Right.
for dinner. We discuss this thing. Both the family likes each other.
Mm.
The next weekend, so the people from my wife's family side, they came visiting my place.
Mm.
And couple of days later, we went to her place. We did all this rituals, whatever stuff.
Right.
And then 2 days from there, we got engaged. So it was all like, in 8 days the whole stuff happened,
Okay.
from nothing, no idea, to
Okay.
getting engaged. It happened in 8 days, right?
Okay.
And marriage was fixed, I think. Okay, when did I get married? It's, yeah, April. April 25th, I got married.
Okay.
And this person, I should definitely mention it here. This person is a real source of inspiration. Like,
Yeah. Mm.
she understood me. So that's something that not a lot of people would do, and not a
Right.
lot of people would accept.
Right.
She understood me. She understood the reality. She
Right.
stood by my side. uh, you rightly pointed out, when I got married, actual tag, if you have to give me, was a failed entrepreneur. That's the
Right.
tag that you would anyone would give me, or I myself would give me, right? Failed
Right.
entrepreneur. She was brave enough to accept this particular fact.
Right.
She believed in me that I would definitely come up, right?
Right.
So with all these things, the moment she started believing in me, then I got back my, this 2011 20 vibes, this
Got it.
2011 2010
That
vibes, right?
energy and all those
That energy
confidence and
started
stuff.
coming in.
Yeah.
Then I thought, okay, let me start this, right? So let's do this again.
Hmm.
If I can build something up from the scratch back then I'm even more mature right now, and I can do this. So
Right.
that's when I started working on this, and that's how Happy Miles again got continued.
Got it.
The in-house training program and all got continued,
Got it.
right? And there were times when we were financially really down and stuff,
Right.
but she was making up for that. She was working.
Okay.
She's still working.
Okay.
She made up. She ensured that the basics are met, so
Got it.
that I don't have this headache of burden of what to do if this money doesn't come this time, right?
Got it.
So that's she's a very great source of support to me till
Right.
date.
Right.
And frankly speaking, I wouldn't have reached this level if not for her. right? That
Right.
kind of push and that motivation you need someone to believe in you, and
Right.
really don't know what kind of high that gives you, and that can push you to miles, right?
Right.
So this really happened, and yeah, 2016 Happy Miles in-house started and started making some money as well, quality good money as well. Yeah.
Great, great, Ajay. I think you said a while back about good wife, good life. I think so far it's been the case for you.
Mm,
Congratulations, and
thank you.
I hope that's the way it's gonna be throughout your life. And my best wishes for that.
Thank
Now, coming back to your classroom training, uh, while the Happy Miles was still continuing, you had a freelancer doing your aptitude portions of it. And then, you spoke about IELTS coming in. Probably that's the starting point of Maple Assistance, I think.
exactly, yeah.
So could you, walk us through that? How did IELTS start off? Was it because, you said that you had exposure with IELTS because of your GMAT journey? And did you see a market, or did somebody coming in for inquiry uh, ask for IELTS training? How did that all happen?
There was a market for IELTS for
Okay.
sure. There
Okay.
was a market for IELTS because during my preparation, I wanted to inquire about this IELTS because I had no idea about IELTS.
Right.
So I felt that, personally, I should sign up with a company who can professionally teach this because didn't really want to screw my MBA thing, right? So,
Right.
but the moment I started doing my research about IELTS, it was all about English, right? It was about English, and if you know the strategies, if you can understand how it actually works, then you can actually nail it, right? So initially, when I gave all these institutes a call, it was very expensive,
Mm,
and they charged a good amount.
mm.
And that is when I understood, okay, IELTS has a market, right? And they keep you on waiting list as well. They tell you that this batch is full, so if at all you're really interested, you have to come for the next batch that starts in another month or so. So then I understood, okay, so many people, right? Okay, a lot of people are trying this thing. And IELTS has these two things, one is the academic and the other one is general. So academic is for people who go to other countries for their study purpose.
Study purpose.
General is for any other purpose,
Right.
immigration purpose or work or the other things, right? So again, your audience level is again growing wide. You are
Right.
catering to students as well as professionals, right?
Right.
Wider audience range, right? So IELTS was always there. And when I started this communication skills and aptitude and other thing, I just wanted to give this a try, just to diversify, to have more things on the bucket. Like I added IELTS as well on the name board.
Right.
Okay, so we had IELTS training also done, right? And on this Just Dial, on the Suleka, we mentioned IELTS. What happened was I started getting a lot of inquiry for IELTS.
Hmm.
I personally was surprised with this thing. So
Right.
at you during that particular point in time, I knew a lot about academic IELTS than the general IELTS, right? But
Right.
people started coming in for general IELTS, academic IELTS. It was a combination. Students started coming in. So one student, I mean, that's the beauty of this in-house training, na? So you do a good job with the student. He always has this five friends. So
Correct.
five friends start coming in, right? So they bring in their friends, and people started walking in, right? So
Right.
at a point in time, I had to shut down all the other courses. I was doing business English,
Hmm.
I was doing communicative English,
Hmm.
and I was doing personality.
Hmm.
I had to stop all the other things. I had to cater only to IELTS. This literally became an IELTS institute
Got
at
it.
one point in time.
Got it.
2016, 2017, this became an IELTS institute. Lot of people, students were there. Equally, I was seeing working professionals walking into office and asking, please help me get a good band score in IELTS. And I was wondering why these people, all well settled, like good positions, all these guys, why do they want to come to a classroom? They used to come, complete their work 6:37 in the evening, 7 o'clock they used to come and sit with me till 9, 10. They used to learn. I was wondering why these guys are spending a lot of time, energy, and effort. Then I started asking them, like, what's the reason? Why do you want to do this thing? So then they start talking about something called as PR, permanent
Hmm.
residency visas,
Hmm.
right? And this is my first introduction to permanent residency visas. So, and They told me that Australia is giving permanent residency visas, Canada is giving permanent residency visas, even you can settle down in UK.
Hmm.
And for all these things, you need this exam called as IELTS. Okay, and then I understood. Okay, this is why you are into IELTS. I was teaching them. I was teaching them, and my people were also getting pretty decent scores and all. Was getting good results. What really happened was 2017. I had a couple of clients. They were also into this general IELTS thing, and they did their training here with Happy Miles. At that point in time, it was still called Happy
Happy
Miles.
minutes. Yeah.
They got their thing done with Happy Miles, and that's it. My thing was done. They left. Few days back, they again came back and they told, "Hey, this is the score that we got. Thank you so much," and all. Then they asked me this question, Ajay, can you please refer a good consultant who can do this Canadian PR visa thing?
Mm.
Right? Please refer a good consultancy in our place, right? So for this Canadian PR visa thing, ego or something that didn't allow me to say, boss, sorry, I don't know. Right, so your ego doesn't allow you to say that, right? Because they think that you are a know-it-all kind of a thing. I didn't want to break that reputation,
Right.
so I told, just give me 2 days time. I will tell you the correct consultancy. Then in this 2 days, what I did, I went to Google, just like what every other person would do. I went to Google, did all the research, just an online search. Maybe I would have spent like what, maximum 15 to 20 minutes looking at all the websites. Found out the one which was very professional, having pan India offices and stuff. Obviously, when you see this consultancy is having offices in like 12 cities, this should be the best, right? And they are doing it not only for Canada, they are doing it for 12 other countries. So okay, then they are the best in the market. So I thought this to myself, called my clients, and I told them, hey, hands down, best consultancy in our place, go. That's it, right?
Right.
And what happened, these people, they had a very good relationship, because any training program would go between 1 to 2.5 months, right? So when 2.5 months, when and it's one to one, it's
Right.
personal, not a classroom kind of training. I used to do it 1 to 1. I sit with clients and I do it.
Right.
So the relationship would always be there with all my clients, right? So I had very good client relationship with these guys. So they blindly, without even a second thought, without even going through the reviews or something, they went to this institute consultancy. They signed up with the consultancy.
Right.
3 months, 4 months, I never heard anything from them.
Okay.
No clue what they were doing and stuff. Nothing. What really happened was, one fine day, they were at my office, and I was really surprised to see them at my office space. And they sat down with me and they told me about their bad experience with that particular consultancy. So what
Okay.
really happened was, like, these guys have paid a huge sum as a
Hmm.
first installment. It was not even the full thing. The first installment itself was a huge sum. They paid around 70, 75, 80,000 bucks with this consultancy. And what happened was, the consultancy had taken the money, and they were trying to serve him, but nothing really was good. And the consultancy, the point of contact kept on changing, and the other person was asking for more money. They were asking, then they were showing them this, you already signed, you cannot. So these two guys literally lost their money.
Right.
So they came back to my office, and they told me, Ajay, see, this is what happened. So make sure from the next time onwards, I know for a fact that there are a lot of people who are doing general IELTS for this PR thing. They might also ask the same question like what we asked, but make sure next time,
Not to
don't
refer.
refer them to this consultancy. And also, you make sure that they are really good. So they didn't complain to me, they didn't blame me, but
It was a
I
feedback.
felt, yeah, that's a feedback, but that really made me feel really guilty,
Right.
because like 1.5 lakhs was at stake, and I felt responsible. I was the one who told them, like, you should go stick with them, right? So I really felt responsible, and then I took it personal. I took it more serious, and in fact, there were a lot of people who are doing this general IELTS with me for this Canadian and Australian PR,
Right.
and they used to ask me, Ajay, do you know some consultancy? And they used to talk about some consultancy and stuff. And that is when I told myself, okay, if I'm in this business of helping people with IELTS, obviously people are going to come and ask me this question. So before they come and ask me, let me go and find out who's the best in the market. So then what I did, I started stepping into all these consultancies office,
Right.
all the Canadian PR visa consultancy office. I started stepping in. I started, I asked them, the first company, the consultancy I went, I told them, I want to get a Canadian PR thing. So I wanted to understand who's the best. So these guys asked me to pay an upfront cost of like initial, like 3,000 rupees the moment you step in, just for the evaluation report.
Oh.
So the way they present it to you, you will think that okay, you have to pay it, otherwise you cannot get it. Later, I
Hmm.
understood you don't even have to pay that money, but that's a different story. But this is the process that they follow.
Right.
Initial 2,000, 3,000 bucks they ask you, then they will ask you to wait. They will
Hmm.
tell you the report will get generated maybe in a day or two. Then you have to wait anxiously for the report, and then the report comes and it says yes, you are eligible, right? And then they tell you this thing. The next response would be, congratulations, you are eligible. This is the payment. So 1.5 lakhs, 2 lakhs, this is how we charge. You can pay it in two installments, upfront cost of 70,000, 80,000 bucks. Then once you get this thing, you pay another 80,000 bucks, and the last 40,000 maybe later. Likewise, they split it across plus GST, right? And I was like, wait, this is all going too fast for me. You told me that I'm eligible, I understand. What's the process? How does it all work? Right? And for this, they didn't have an answer. They told me, don't worry about that. We will take care. Just pay the money. We can start. You will get the PR. Lot of things were missing in between, right?
Right.
And I was trying to figure out. I mean, I'm an entrepreneur. I know things. I have to ask this question.
Right.
Maybe another person may not ask the question, but I should definitely ask the question. What is the process, by the way? How do you say that I'll get the PR? How
Right.
long is it going to take, and how much does it going to cost me
Right.
for the whole process? And will I be able to get a job? I had hell a lot of questions in my head
Yeah.
when it comes to this Canadian PR thing, right?
Right.
So consultancy one never answered me.
Hmm.
Then I jumped to consultancy two.
Hmm.
I understand it is the same process. I told them I already have the report. The report is common, it's from Canada, right? The report cannot change. I cannot get a 68 points here and I cannot get a 65 points there. It has to be the same.
Hmm.
But this consultancy said, no, 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 it is done from that consultancy. You have to again repay this the money. So pay them again. Same process, right? Ask them this question, no answer, no
Hmm.
proper explanation.
Hmm.
Then it got fishy. Okay. Then what I did, I went into nearly almost all the decent level consultancies here in Coimbatore.
Right.
Then I start calling consultancies in Bangalore, Chennai, Cochin. I even walked to few of these consultancies in Chennai and Bangalore, right? Then it was after doing a research of like with top 20, 25 consultancies, they follow the same pattern. In fact, the pitch is also the same,
Right.
right? And I was like wondering, how can you guys do this when it's a high ticket thing, right?
Yes. Yes. It's a
2
lot of
lakhs
money.
per
Yeah.
person, it's a lot of money. It's a high ticket thing. How can you get this money when you I really doubt whether you know the process or not. Maybe that's the reason why you're withholding this thing from me. So you get all these doubts in your head, right? And I was wondering what these consultancies are doing, or I was convincing myself maybe this is how it actually works,
Right.
right? So maybe there is no other option. This is how it actually works, and this is the amount you'll have to pay them, right? This was going on. This was going on in one part of it. This was one happening here in this aspect of my life.
Right.
On the other hand, what happened was I was continuing with my business. Happy Miles was going. This training was going on. When I started doing this research about Canada, you start falling in love with the country. You start looking at videos, how beautiful the country is, how people are, and this fascination again started coming in. You remember this 2015 thing, GMAT going
Yeah.
abroad?
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
This fascination again started creeping in. Okay, so I thought, Canada, and this time you don't even have to go study there. It's directly going and enjoying. You work over there. So should I try it? Should I try it? This kind of a thing started coming in, right?
Okay.
2016, 2017. This was also there in my mind. 2017, incidentally, what happened was my wife's cousin brother, wife's father's brother's son.
Okay.
So we call it Periyappa's
Yeah.
son,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
right? So you get it. So he was a Canadian PR holder. He couldn't come for our marriage, so he
Okay.
was not there for our marriage,
Okay.
right? So she was. I have never seen this guy before. I
Right.
never saw this guy before. So she was on call, WhatsApp call, video call, one day, and she introduced me. During the call, she introduced me. Hey, this is Ajay, and he was like, Hey, Ajay, this is me, Prabhu, and like this is what we do. How are you and stuff. General conversation,
Right.
nothing deep. But I was very curious. He was there in Canada, so I was very curious. So I asked him, brother, like, can you please tell me how did you get your PR visa? Because I'm also into this IELTS space. When I told him that I was into IELTS space, he got interested.
Right.
Oh, really? Okay, cool. Like I scored 6.5 in IELTS. I really, it was really hard for me to put in time. And he was telling his backstories, and we were connecting really well, you know.
Right.
And I asked him like, hey, how did you get your Canadian PR thing? Because there are a lot of clients who are trying to find out a good consultancy, but we couldn't find. And I mentioned the name of the consultancy and where my client got, you know,
Yeah.
screwed. So I told him. Then he told me that's the same consultancy that screwed me as well.
Okay.
Right. So like he had paid like 1.5 lakhs, but end of the day, it was his friend who was already there in Canada who helped him in the complete process, and
Mm.
through his help, he has been to Canada.
Got it.
So literally, this money was gone down the drain,
Got
right?
it.
So then he told me, okay, don't worry. I have his contact. I have my friend. You can refer my name. He'll talk to you. He's also from Tamil Nadu, so you'll have that connect. So I'll connect you with this guy, so you have a word with him. So then what happens? I connect with his friend who's already there in Canada, right from 2012, 2013 onwards, I guess.
Right.
He has a very good experience about all these things. So then when I start talking to him, he was the one who gave me the complete picture and how these consultancies make a business out of this thing,
Mm.
right? So he gave me the picture. He told me, hey, Ajay, this is not rocket science, right? So they don't tell you because they don't want you to know.
Right.
That's the reason why these consultancies, they don't tell you, right?
Right.
Because if you know the process, then you are not going to be with them,
Right.
right? That's the reason why they don't tell you. And see, let me tell you. And he started sending me all the links. He started sharing PDFs related to all these things, and he told me, Ajay, you go read it for yourself. You'll be able to do it, man. It's pretty simple. So you just read all these things. Then what I do with his materials, I started doing my research. I got interested. By now, I was sold out to the idea that okay, Canada, we should also go. I was
Okay.
really sold out on this particular idea. Then I wanted to test this, whether it's really working or not. I wanted to test this. So obviously, the testing rat here was me myself. I
Right.
wanted to test it with myself, right? At the same time, what happened? One of my very close friend, his sister was there in Canada, so he thought like he should also apply. Very close friend, you know, like we are like mama macha kind of thing, right?
Right.
I told him, hey, I'm doing this process for myself. He was about to pay money to consultancy. I told him, wait,
Mm.
don't pay any money. You don't even have to pay me as well.
Mm.
I will do it. Anyways, I'm doing it for me. I will
Got
do
it.
it for you as well,
Got
right?
it.
So let's do this. And obviously he's a very close friend. He cannot say no,
Right.
right? So he said, okay, let's do this. One advantage that he had was he had a sister there in Canada, so that gave him additional points. So I thought I'll be the first to get the invitation and other things,
Hmm.
but he got his invitation. His file got processed first,
Okay.
right? So now it was not my profile I was testing; it was my friend's profile. I was like a bit nervous now because nothing should go wrong because it is my friend,
Right.
and it will be a very sad story if it doesn't really go well, right? But I was really confident. I did a lot of research. I spent in a lot of hours time learning this, even to the minute details. I learned it, and then I started doing this thing. And what happened was he got his PR.
So, invitation is sent. That's the first step of the
Correct.
process,
So
is it?
what happens is, let's say 1,000 people apply.
Okay.
Out of that, 50 people, 100 people, 200 people get picked, and they receive an invitation. Only those people will
Oh,
be
so
able to
so
proceed
that
with the
is
PR.
when people start going to consultancies after the invitation comes.
No, 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 no.
Hmm.
For the start of the process, they go to the consultancy.
Oh, but then it's not sure they're going to get picked from the lot, right? It's a lucky draw
No,
sort
no,
of a
no.
thing,
See,
right?
what really happens here with Canadian PR visa is that, so basically, um, there will be a pool of people. So
Okay.
basically, you need to do some formalities to become eligible to apply. So
That
what
is
you do,
what
the
is
first step.
IELTS also part of.
Yes, IELTS is also a part. So IELTS is a basic eligibility requirement, a criteria if you want
Okay.
to apply for a Canadian PR visa thing.
Okay.
So you need to take up IELTS, right? So once you complete that, you'll have to fill an application,
Okay.
right? So once you fill an application, what happens? You get a points. You get points based on what the details: your age, your education, your work experience, your Canadian affinity, adaptability, all these things based on different factors. There are some points to it. Okay, and you will get a point against your name. For example, my point was 471. All right, and that was my score at that
Right.
point in time.
Right.
Likewise, each person with a different score will be there. And what happens is every 15 days once, Government of Canada used to conduct a draw,
Right.
right? And they will set a cutoff score.
Every 15 days once.
15 days once on a
15 days.
Wednesday,
Okay.
they conduct a draw and they will set a cutoff score.
Okay.
So basically, this cutoff score is like anyone who's having a score greater than the cutoff score. For example, let's say they set a cutoff score of 470.
Okay.
Now my score is 471.
Okay.
Anyone who's above 471 will get picked and they will receive an invitation.
Oh, anyone and everyone above 470 score.
Right. They will get an invitation. But
Oh.
the thing is that the way they set the score is they'll be able to issue only 3,000 invitations or 4,000 invitations.
Ah,
Per draw.
got it.
There will be 3 to 4 lakh people. There
Got
can
it.
be lakhs and lakhs of people together. But out of that, only 3,000 or 4,000 people will get picked in a particular draw.
But all these 4,000 people, if they do the process well, it is confirmed that they will get the
It
PR.
again depends on your score, right? Now it all depends on your score.
Okay.
So without the score, it's not possible for you to get it. So you need to have that score in order to get it, right? So the cutoff score may not come down drastically. If there are a lot of people with a 470 score, why should it come to 469? Because there are so many people in 470s, right? So they are
No,
already
no.
meeting
Yeah,
their
that is
target.
fine. But I am saying whoever has met a score of 470 or whatever the cutoff score is, if there is no more chance after that. If you do the process well, you're getting your PR.
Correct. No, there is a chance of you getting rejected even after your invitation if you are doing your documentation wrong.
Ah, okay.
That is another process. So once you get your invitation, then comes the real process. That is documentation.
Okay.
So documentation is the most tricky part because every document has to be to the point. Otherwise, they don't even ask you for anything. Like they will
Simply
directly
reject
reject
it.
you.
Got it.
Right. So you have to be really clear with your documentation part.
Got it.
So
Your
when
friend gets an invitation and
he
you
gets an invitation, all of a sudden, I didn't get an invitation. He gets an invitation. And now the documentation has to be done.
right.
I really wanted to test the documentation on myself first before I start this
Right.
to my friend.
Right.
But I had to do this for my friend.
Right.
Now I cannot tell him like I'm nervous.
Right.
Then he's going to hit me left, right, center. Right. So then what really happened was I never showed that I was nervous, but I did the process. Like we started this thing and the complete documentation was done. I proofread it like again multiple times.
Right.
I even shared it with few of my contacts through my, my wife's cousin. I
Right.
cross-checked all those things. Everything was okay.
Okay.
I was confident and then we went ahead and we submitted it. 2018, he received his PR.
Wow. Okay.
That was a game-changing moment,
Okay.
right? So when he received the PR, literally I told myself, I have saved 2 lakh rupees for my friend. That was something that I had. Oh my God, I'm able to save 2 lakh rupees for my friend, right? So that was a great feeling,
Right.
Now my thing got even more confident. Like I knew that whatever I'm doing, I'm on the right track.
Right.
The way I'm researching, it's all working because I already tested it. It is working
Right.
with one person, right?
Right.
Then what I did, 2017 FAG and 2018 when he got his PR, April I think he got his few months back, 2018, 2017 end he got his PR.
Okay.
He landed in 2018 though. 2018, what I did was I opened this thing, Canadian PR Visa Services, only for my IELTS clients.
Got
Right.
it. Got it.
So I didn't do any special marketing. I already had people coming in
Right.
for IELTS training. To those people, I told them, hey, you are here for IELTS training. Obviously, once this is done, you're obviously going to sign up with a consultancy for this thing. This is what I am doing. If you're interested, I can continue the services. I can help you with your PR process as well.
Got it.
So literally, I spent 0 rupees on marketing because these are already my client.
Yeah.
People who believed in me, they signed up with me
Right.
for this again, the whole thing, right? So then 1-2 people started signing up, and what happened was 2017 end, another client of mine, she signed up, she cleared her IELTS, we did the process, and she got her PR.
Okay.
Again, second person
Okay.
got the PR, and now I was like super confident.
Okay.
Now I know, okay, this is something that's actually working because the more you do, the more experience that you get, the more understand you get, right?
Right.
So then I told myself, okay, if this is the thing, let me do this. So that is when Maple Assistance came. So
Mm.
Happy Miles was only into IELTS. So I didn't want Happy Miles. I didn't want the name. So Happy Miles was out. Maple Assistance. So it was related to Canada. So Canada Assistance. That's how Maple Assistance came into picture.
Got it.
And now I had time only to help people on IELTS and the Canadian PR thing,
Got it.
right? So what I did, I started doing seminars in cities like Chennai, Cochin, Bangalore, my place, Hyderabad. We used to I used to get a space. We used to book halls. We used to conduct this awareness digital marketing stuff about the thing, and people used to sign up,
Right.
and they kind of came in good numbers. They participated in the sessions. I explained them the process. I explained them what consultancies do. I explained them what I do, Maple
Right.
Assistants
Right.
do. And by this time I had a proper narrative. I had a proper idea what Maple Assistance is into. I had a strong USP as well. Everything was all set, and I started pitching this to people, and people who resonated with the idea, people who are able to feel the vibe, they started signing up with Maple Assistance. So
Right.
then 2018 it started taking off.
Got
Maple
it.
Assistance started taking off, and I started getting a lot of clients in terms of Canadian PR visa.
Got it. Great. Uh, this was a very in-depth narration of how Maple Assistance came about, and it's pretty fascinating. You just you didn't even know about. There was a point when you didn't even know that there is a general PR, and people go for immigration, and then
Mhm.
you get interested in the whole Canada thing. And I think you got your PR now.
Yeah.
Okay, when did you get your?
2017 I started.
Okay.
2017 I started. So the problem was I didn't have that points. The cutoff score was around 440s and mine was around 430s.
Right.
So that 8 points was always lagging. So in order to match that 8 points, I had to do another degree,
Okay.
namesake degree, at least to increase the points. So I did another degree for 1 year.
Okay.
I did a PG diploma in business administration for 1 year. And by this time, what happened was like COVID came. 2019, I got my degree. I had to do a assessment for that degree. That was 2019 end. 2020, when I applied, when I re-entered the pool, the express entry pool, that is when COVID came.
Right.
Right again, the draws didn't happen,
Right.
and all these things fluctuated, and um, uh, they used to conduct draws every 15 days once.
Right.
And the problem is with Canada, the moment you turn 30 you start losing 5 points for your age,
Every year, is it?
every year. Yeah.
Okay.
So November 1st was actually my birthday, and I didn't receive an invitation yet. It was already October. I was really nervous, really anxious, like, because November 1st comes, you lose 5 points, then the chances of you getting an invitation is going to go further down,
Right.
right? And one draw before my birthday, this invitation came up. It was like it was scripted, looked really scripted, but it was God was, writing a beautiful script, I believe. So one draw, the last draw before my birthday, I received an invitation. Now, when I look back at time, if it was not for that particular draw, even 2023, I would not have received my invitation because the score has never came down to that level.
Right.
So that happened. 2020, I received an invitation. During the COVID, I received the invitation. Then I completed my documentation and all. And again, my whole file was put on hold because of the second wave of COVID that happened in 2021.
Right.
18 months, no news at all. So
Okay.
literally, I forgot that I have applied for Canadian PR. It was like that. You didn't really know. And it was a very testing time. You don't know what to do. You don't know whether to expand here in India, buy a house, or I was
You're in a
31,
state of
32.
flux. Yeah.
Yeah, so not sure where to invest and what to do with life and stuff. Totally confused. I was in a black hole for like good 18 months, and then finally last year July I received a stamping on my passport and
Hmm.
got it, and I've booked my flight. So next month I'm actually leaving. March 24th is my flight.
Great.
So yeah.
Great. We will definitely talk about. There are a lot of other things that I have in my mind that I want to like question you on. The
Sure, sure.
whole stuff. But coming back to Maple Assistance. So far, how many people have got PR under you? Like, how many people have you
We
helped get PR? Ajay?
We have there are 6 people in Canada
Okay.
who have got their PR visas through Maple Assistance.
Okay.
So six might not sound like a big number, but in this industry, this niche, that's a number, frankly speaking, for
Yeah, I
itself.
think
Because
considering the COVID break, 18 months, you
yeah,
yourself
correct.
didn't
So
get
that
anything. Yeah,
that two years is washed out
washed out.
completely.
Yeah,
So 2018 I started. So literally I had 2018 to 2019. That's 1 year. 2019 to 2020, maybe that's another. Maybe you can give it another 6 8 months,
yeah.
and from there 2 years was washed out, and now another year. So it should be approx 3 years.
3 years.
Six is a very good number. And another client has got his invitation. We have completed the documentation. So he will be following me to Canada, probably by August or September. There is another person who has again done the documentation. There are 2 people who have completed the documentation and waiting for the stamping. So this number will increase to 8 or 9 by end of this year. So, which according to me is a very good number
Got it. And
because
it's only
it's
going to
not.
increase, right?
Yeah, it's only going to increase. Yeah, and from now on, yeah, obviously. So I really wish that a lot of people get their PR visas too. I have closed about 700 odd clients, 600 to 700 odd clients right now across India as well as across the globe. Now I have clients from Middle East who are signing up. I have clients from Canada itself, who are there on temporary resident visas. They are signed up with Maple Assistance for their PR visas.
So,
So it's
what are you? What is the 600, 700 clients you're talking about? They have signed up with you for the PR thing?
correct for the PR process. Yeah, correct,
Oh,
correct, correct. Yeah.
wow. Okay. Okay. So, obviously, this six is going to, and all these people have received their invitation?
No, 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 no. It's very difficult. The conversions would not be.
Ah,
It's
okay.
like 1% conversion or 0.5% conversion. If I'm able to see in this industry, if out of the 600, if I'm able to convert 1%, it
Got
is
it.
like I'm the master of this industry. I'm in the I'm the topper of this particular industry. Like
Got
it's
it.
like that, you know.
Got it. Got it. Got it.
So that's how this
But
industry is
but
right now.
your conversion from the point of invitation is going to be way higher, right?
From point of invitation to PR, it is 100%.
100%. Right.
100%.
Right.
100%.
Right.
No doubts about that.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, see, if you ask me about the documentation part, I've done it for 6 of my clients. But on top of that, my sister, she's a PR holder now. So
Right.
that documentation also, I was the one who helped her out. Brother-in-law, again, PR holders there in Canada. Again, I helped them out in the documentation.
Got it.
Couple of my friends, again, part of the documentation. I'm not putting them all in the client bracket, but still, the effort and the work is all the same, right?
Right.
So, in terms of experience, it's not just the experience of 6 people; it is more than that, and
Right.
including my file. So it's more than that. Yeah.
Got it. So your IELTS training is still going on.
IELTS training is
Is
still
that your
going on.
main lead generation process as well for the PR consultancy?
No, I'm not using IELTS as the lead generation thing. For me, right now, the narrative of PR itself is generating
Okay.
good leads,
Got
right?
it.
So the narrative is now the Canadian PR visa.
Got it.
IELTS have now become a part of that program. So now I have included IELTS a part of the program. So I have a
Got it.
trainer
Got
who is
it. Got
doing
it.
the
Got it.
training,
Yeah. So
and I
IELTS
have
alone is not your flagship product as such. IELTS has
correct
become part of the. So if somebody
part of
wants to learn only IELTS from you, you're not doing it.
doing it, still doing it.
You're
Yeah,
doing it.
that can also be done. What I did right now is I've created a self-paced course,
Right.
the IELTS self-paced program. So people who wants to take part in that, they can do it. And there is a live session going on 4 times a week.
Got
So
it.
this live also keeps going on,
Got it.
right? I have a trainer who's taking care of my live sessions,
Got it.
so they can take part in my they can watch my self-paced program course as well as in addition to it they can learn this learn from my trainer on during the live sessions as well. So that again is a possibility. This can also be done.
Got it, Ajay. And you're a solopreneur now. I mean, you just
Now it's now I'm a solopreneur, correct? Yeah,
got
I
it.
have team. I have a team in Delhi who's taking care of the digital marketing and stuff. But it's a they are an agency. I outsource it to
Agency, yeah,
them
you
and
outsourced
they
it to
take it.
them. They're all
Yeah,
your
yeah.
supporting act. But
Correct,
largely,
correct, correct,
you would probably fall under the solopreneur
correct.
route, and
Solopreneur, absolutely that bracket. Yeah, for sure.
and
Yeah,
that's how you're kind of envisioning yourself down the line, at least also.
correct.
And as you said, it's way more comfortable for you. There are a lot of
Mm.
so first we were talking about the difference between people who are working and then being an entrepreneur. Now in entrepreneur itself, there is a huge difference between being a solopreneur and then running a team, having a company, and all those things.
Correct.
Got it.
Correct.
And when you're moving away, right, when you're changing your primary place of residence to another country, now how does that impact your entrepreneurship, this Maple Assistance thing?
Frankly speaking, I'm keeping my fingers crossed. I really don't know what's going to happen once I move to Canada,
Okay.
but I have a vague idea like this is what I'm going to do,
Okay.
right? So, in Canada, there are a lot of students who go to Canada on a study permit, and all these students they spend a lot of money thinking that they can settle down in the country. If they don't settle down, it's not going to make sense for them,
Okay.
right? So my intention is to help those students who wants to settle down there,
Hmm.
right? And these guys, they have spent already lakhs and lakhs of money on their education.
Right.
Again, if at all they want to get their PR visa done through a immigration lawyer, it's going to cost another 5,000 $6,000 over there,
Right.
which I can literally get it done for maybe what, like $1,500.
Got it.
I can save a huge
Huge. Yeah.
sum of money
80%
for these
literally.
students. Yeah, for these students. One, and number two, again, a very big hurdle to all these guys. One big hurdle is the language test. There is a particular band score that you need to take. For
Right.
example, when I say a particular band score, let's say 8 in 777, 8 in listening, and 7 in all the other modules. Let's say you take a test and you score 9, which is the top in the module, right? You scored 9 in 3 modules, and you score only 5.5 in one module, but your
Hmm.
overall score is still decent, 7.58. In spite of having an excellent overall score, you have to repeat IELTS again by paying another say 15 16,000 bucks,
Got it.
right? Why?
Got it.
Because you scored zero point 0.5 less in one. So when it comes to Canadian PR, the score, the threshold score is really important,
Right.
right? So people fail to do that, right? So
Got it.
I can also help them out on this aspect on in terms of IELTS, right?
Right.
And one more advantage is when I'm there in Canada, it is easy for me to pitch myself because I'm walking my talk, right? So people will understand.
Exactly.
Okay,
Yeah.
so this
You've
guy,
already gone through the drill.
yeah, I've gone through the drill, so I have a proven track record, and I've done it for myself. So I've done it for my clients. Now I can also help the other person. So that confidence would also be there, and now I can easily go reach out to the international market. So
Got it.
right now, I'm confined to see whenever I say that I am having clients from Middle East. It is not the Middle East client itself. It is our guy who's there in Middle East, right? And our guy who's there in Canada.
Right.
But now I can reach once I go to Canada, I can reach out to international audience as well. So
And
we
yeah,
can
you're in
I can reach
Canada
them.
itself. Yeah.
So that becomes a hub, like then it's easy for me to pitch myself. So that now I'm thinking of expansions, right? So
Going
all other
international.
going international, expanding this thing and making a system around it. And also I have a plan of getting myself equipped and licensed. So you need to have a license if you want
Yeah.
to do it.
Consultancy.
If you want to represent a client, you need to have the license. So
Got
I'm
it.
thinking of getting myself licensed there
Got it.
once I go there. Right now, what I'm doing is a completely different program.
Got it.
It's an education kind of a program, which we will definitely talk about. But once I move there, like planning to get myself a license so that I can start representing people from
Right.
across the country. So that's also going to help the cause, right? And there are other ventures as well, which is there in my mind. So one thing that I didn't tell you is from 2011 till 2016,
Hmm.
I have put my hands in 5 to 6 different industries.
Right.
So, but I've always ensured that I stick to my strength. My strength is training. My strength is, talking to people, convincing and selling.
Right.
Always, I have stuck to my strength, but I have tried out other industries as well.
Right.
I've tried my hand at other industries as well. Yeah, other businesses as well. So I've got some ideas on the tech side of it, edu tech actually speaking. Yeah, on the edu tech aspect of it. So let's see what the future holds. We really don't know. If everything goes well, for sure, right? Thinking of pitching in and getting all these things done. Yeah, that might also can happen. So in addition to Maple Assistance, I might be starting up a couple of other companies as well once I'm there. Yeah.
Got it, Ajay. Ajay, you were talking about, you've closed 600, 700 clients, where you're looking at a 1% conversion, which itself you said is going to be, a big thing for you if that happens. Now, 1% is one thing, but how did you, what was the process you followed to, get this 600, 700 clients? And did it, was it successful right from the start, or how many iterations that you had to go through to get that model working for you?
See, frankly speaking, it took me some time to figure out the model which I'm going to work. But the moment I figure out like this is what I'm going to do, then things started falling in place
Right.
without any hassle. So I used to have this webinar funnel. That's my funnel actually.
Okay.
So this is how it works. I run ads,
Okay.
and these leads come into a WhatsApp group,
Okay.
and inside the group, like we share the link
Mm-hmm.
to this particular webinar.
Mm-hmm.
People attend the webinar, and inside the webinar I explain them the process, I explain them about Maple Assistance, and I give them an offer.
Right.
I make an offer, and people sign up using the offer. So
Got it.
this is the funnel,
Hmm.
right? Frankly speaking, this is working great for me without any hassles, because a person who's serious about getting a Canadian PR visa, when he attends this 2 hour session with me, hands down, this is the best solution for him.
Right. Right.
I have created it that way,
Right.
right? So cost effective, it's a transparent process. This person gets educated, he's learning, and he doesn't have to fear mistakes or fear of failure. That
Right.
that part I'm completely taking it out,
Right.
right? So what else you need, right? So you're saving the money, and at the same time you're achieving, or you're reaching your goal. What else you need, right? So anyone with a real intention of getting the Canadian PR thing, when he listens or when he sits inside the session, I give him a fantastic offer as well, which is not taxing the pockets. I give him an excellent offer, so that like he signs up right away.
Got it.
So it's pretty simple. It's pretty smooth sailing for me now. Yeah.
So this is the webinar you said that happens 4 times a week, the 2 hour session.
No, no, no. That's the live session that happens. That's for the IELTS part. The
That
webinar
is, you use
happens
a
once
trainer
a
to
week.
do that. Okay.
Correct. I have a trainer to do that, but webinar I do it once a week.
Once a week. And you are
Initially,
present in that, right? You are the one
yeah,
who's
yeah. I
doing
am.
the
It's a
2 hours.
live session. I
Right.
do it personally, and I answer questions. I take questions. I answer public questions, and then then interested people, they sign up
So how many
using the.
participants you have attending this on an average?
Generally, the numbers keep fluctuating.
Okay.
2020, the numbers was huge. Like I used to get around like 500.
Wow.
My Zoom used to be full. Like
Okay.
it's 450, 500. Month on month, this would be the numbers. Then the numbers started coming down.
Hmm.
Obviously, it's a niche, right? So
Hmm. Hmm.
when you're doing the ads and other stuff,
Yeah. Yeah.
numbers, the cost also keeps increasing. So right now I have every session I'll have anywhere around like 120 to 150, 160 people attending the session.
Okay.
And this happens every week on week. The session keeps happening.
Got it, Ajay. So Ajay, we were talking about, your process for the getting people onto your webinars, and then you said at one point, there were about 500 participants. Your Zoom used to be full. You used to run ads, and now you get about 120 every week. So uh, can you help me understand? You said something about uh, your lead generation improving, but your leads decreasing from 500 to 120. What is that all about?
See, one thing that I understood about this social media marketing and this thing is that um, Canadian PR is a very niche audience.
Right.
It is not that it's not a term like online business or coaching or something like that.
Right.
It's a niche audience. So what happens is that when you start running ads, multiple times to the same audience, then at one point in time the cost per acquisition actually goes up,
Mm, right.
but the quality of the ads, it's also it's improving, because a person sees this for like 4 times, 5 times, then he thinks, okay, what is this, then he signs up, right?
Ah,
So then the quality wise it's getting better, but again in terms of the costing and in terms of number of people who are coming in, it is coming down because it's a niche market. So obviously, and my thing is also to it is related to what is happening there in Canada. So
right.
if the Canadian immigration thing is really good, really prospective, if they come up with a wonderful plan, then here the number of people or the leads, it's going to
Increase.
increase.
Right.
If there is something there, if the draws are not happening, if it's going to shut down or something, then again it's going to decrease here.
Got it.
So it's directly related to what the government of Canada is, planning and stuff, right?
Got it.
So that's where the fluctuation actually is, right? And we are also still learning in terms of optimizing the ads and
Yeah.
finding the right hit. So we're still working on it, right? It's been like 3 years, but yeah, still you have a lot of scope to improve and stuff. That's about. I mean, you know how social media is changing and evolving
Right.
every week, every month, right? So obviously it's too difficult to say that I've nailed it or this is not working. So you keep learning and you make changes, you adjust to it, and you just move with that.
Got it, Ajay. And talking about your ads, what are the social media platforms you run your ads on?
See, right now we are running on Instagram
Okay.
and on Facebook. We have not
Okay.
touched Google yet, and we
Okay.
have not tried YouTube yet. These two platforms are giving us good numbers and it's going pretty decent. So we have not diversified into Google, but Google and YouTube is all it's there in back of my mind.
Okay.
Maybe we will try it out this year, sometime this year for sure. We will definitely be trying out this Google ads as well to see how it actually goes.
Got it. And you do this yourself, or you've outsourced this activity to
I have a
others?
team. I have a team from Delhi who are taking care of this thing.
Okay.
I actually have an idea. I've learned all these things, when I
Okay.
decided, okay, this is how it's going to go. See, frankly speaking, what happened before the COVID actually came into picture 2020.
Hmm.
But way before COVID, what I did was I wanted to experiment this thing.
Hmm.
So I had my office open. I was paying rent to my office, but I was not working in my office. I told my owner that, okay, so I'm going to try this. I'm going to anyways pay the rent. So it's not for free. It's not to let. I was paying him the rent, but I was operating online, trying and seeing how it's actually going to work. So 2019 fag end, I started trying out this online thing, thereby catering to a wider
Interesting.
audience and
Just
all
before
these.
the pandemic hit
Just before
you
the
in here.
pandemic hit, I was working out on different platforms, seeing how it works, and uh, to s- to try, because that way I can reach to more audience. So that was
Right.
that was the
Right.
only thing that was there in my mind.
Right.
And I came to know about Facebook ads and how it all works. So I wanted to experiment. It was like a toy in a child's hand. Like I wanted to experiment with this thing. And eventually, what happened? 2019, 2020, and all, I had a 50-60% idea of selling online.
Right.
That thing I figured it out. 2020, like COVID came, and it was I mean, I should not say this, but for me, it was really good. COVID came because everyone were there in front of the laptop and the whole narrative changed. It was all happening on the laptop,
Right.
and people came in at large numbers. They started flocking in, right?
Right.
And I was already used to this. For me, it was not new, right?
Right.
So it all came that the timing really mattered and worked out wonders for me. So 2020 literally took off like crazy.
Okay. And these are the times that you were doing it yourself,
I
but
was
then
doing it
you
myself.
got it.
Correct, correct.
So, from now, from then to now, has there been any difference in the budget that you allocated for your weekly webinars to run the ads?
Correct. So initially in 2020, I was not even doing a weekly webinar. It was only a
Okay.
month.
Okay.
So in a month, I used to do one webinar that used to take care of the whole month. I was making really good money and I was serving my clients really well. So it was going really good. 2021, when this COVID second wave of COVID came, the draws were not happening. At that
Right.
point in time, it was not making sense to pitch in this Canadian PR thing.
Right.
So when you say that I'm going to help you get a Canadian PR as a aspirant, when you're looking at that particular ad, it will not make sense because boss, the draws itself is not happening. Canada is now closed. Where
Correct.
are you? Why are you pitching all these things, right? So that's there in your mind. So I changed the narrative. So I
Right.
told them it is definitely going to open. That everybody knows. So when it opens, you will be in advantage. And now I don't promise any PR and stuff. I'm going to give you a chance to apply for a Canadian PR.
Got it.
So statistically speaking, out of 10, right, people who are aspiring to get a Canadian PR, only one or two, they go ahead and complete. At least they give a try. Other eight, they drop off. for
Mm.
two reasons. One, it's very expensive when they are going to do this with a consultancy, and number two, it's an unsure process. Okay, it is
Right.
not that you pay 5 lakhs you are definitely going to get it. If that is the case, people are willing to take a personal loan to get this.
Got it.
But it is unsure, and it is highly very expensive, right? So high risk, right? So 8 people they drop off. So
Got
I
it.
wanted to cater to those 8 people. So I want to make this affordable. I want to give this try, make it low risk, and I wanted to make this a transparent process. So that's
Right.
what was happening. That was happening inside the webinar as well.
Right.
So this we started and going good. And yes, to answer your question, the budget in terms of ads, initially it was for monthly webinars, so that was a different amount. Then 2021, when the numbers started coming down, when the narrative, Canadian narrative was dull, then I had to put in some more money into this marketing, obviously, to reach
Got it.
out to a wider audience, right? So then 2021 it was slightly increased budget, but from there on a weekly basis, the budget anywhere, I mean, it keeps the same, keeps remaining the same. It's not varied that much. It's plus or minus 5,000, that's it. But it's more or less the same.
Okay. What is the kind of money that you spend on ads on a weekly basis? For now.
On a weekly basis, I spend anywhere between 12,000. That's the low range.
Okay.
Sometimes it even goes up to 20K, depending
20K.
on how the ads perform at that particular week, right?
Got
So
it.
some weeks it does really well, other weeks it's not, right? So somewhere around that, yeah.
Got it. And these webinars you conduct on a weekly basis, are they paid webinars or are they free
It's a
webinars?
free webinar. For attending the session, people don't have to pay it. Inside, I
Okay.
give them an opportunity to take part in my program,
Got it.
and they'll get an offer to sign up.
Got it. Here's a question, Ajay. So, see, free or you charge 99 rupees or 49 rupees is not a big deal. But if I open my Instagram, I see these webinars for 99 rupees or 49 rupees. They say that it is used to kind of determine the intent. How do you see this? And did you think about, did you come across a point where you had to decide whether you wanted to do this webinar for free or paid, or was it an easy decision? If you did think, how did you arrive at the decision of making it free?
No, I did experiment it. I have done paid webinars as well. But
Okay.
paid webinars doesn't really make sense unless and otherwise you charge a premium. Right. So this
Right.
99 rupees or 199 rupees, 299 rupees, 499, even 499. It's not a big money to people
Right.
right now. People are earning a lot these days, right? So 500, they might have paid out of interest, but on that particular day, they have a party in the evening. So they prefer to go to the party, not this one. So this I understood when I did paid sessions. Okay. In
Hmm.
fact, I tried doing paid sessions. People paid the money.
Hmm.
Even in the paid session, the participant rate, the conversion rate was only around 50-60%. Then I was wondering, like, you guys have paid the money. Even after paying the money, if out of 100 only 50 people are going to participate, then why should you pay the money? Let's keep it open. Let's 500 people attend.
Hmm.
That way, at least 250 people come to know about the narrative and they might be interested. So that didn't really work. So if at all, if someone is listening to this, someone is watching this, who's having this, doubts, should I do
Right.
this 99 thing just to test the intent? 99 is not going to test the intent, boss. In order to test the intent, you have to charge a premium. Maybe charge them $1,500,
Right.
right? And if a person is paying $1,500, then yes, he is going to attend your session for sure. At least if not, he's not attending, he's going to come back to you and ask, like, hey, this happened, sorry I couldn't attend, how to go further, right? So that conversation will be there. If you charge them like 99, 199, 299 stuff, they're fine with it. It's the charge they pay for the parking in Bangalore for an hour, right? They're absolutely okay with this. So this is not really going to test the intent.
Also, probably given your niche, it makes no sense to charge 99 and 499 and stuff, maybe, right?
Nah, nah,
Because, I
nah.
mean, people are applying for a Canadian PR, man. So I'm sure they're,
Obviously,
yeah,
they
better
they
off.
know they're professionals. They know their stuff. They earn, and for them, see, that's why it's if the intent it's not actually reflecting.
Right.
Even I thought so. People who make the payment, their intent is high. No, that's not the case.
Right.
So people can still take it for granted. So if at all you want to do a paid webinar, it has to be a high ticket one,
Premium, at
meaning
least
at
1,500
least
is what you're
1,000, at
saying.
least they are 1,500 rupees, right? Then they will feel the pinch when they don't attend it, right? Otherwise, it's like nothing for them. Yeah.
Got it. And are you running ads only for the Indian geography, or you're, doing worldwide, or what is the
No, no,
strategy
no.
like?
Right now, I'm doing it for Indian geography only.
Got it. And you say, you have about 120 people participating. What is the conversion rate like?
The ideal conversion rate in any online webinar anywhere, the industry standard is 3%. So
Okay.
if at all, the general webinar thing, you have seen all the online
Yes,
gurus,
yes, yes. A
they
lot
would
of
say
webinars and a lot of topics. Yeah.
3% to 5% is a good conversion on an
Okay.
average. Even if you
Okay.
Google it, that's what you will find. Like 3 to 5% on a webinar is a very good conversion. 2 to 3, good. 3 to 5, very good, and anything above 5. So for me, it converts anywhere between easily between 8 to 15 percentage. That is a conversion.
Wow. Okay.
There's a 8 to 15 percentage conversion. The reason is because of the product. It's because the service, the one that it's been created, the value, right? And the offer. So
Right.
I come up with an excellent program and I give it at a very affordable price.
Right.
Right. So people can't resist buying it. So kind of a narrative.
Got it, Ajay. I think here's the unique thing, right? Because see, everywhere you look, who are the ones who are helping people get a Canadian PR are these consultancy.
Hmm.
And you told what is happening with those consultancy. And one of the beautiful things about your journey is, I think, most of the success stories around coaching, right, happens when the coach has a personal story
Hmm.
uh, strongly connected to the product or the service that he's offering. I think that's
Correct.
what is probably, going very well for you. And probably that is why it is between 8% to 15%. The reason I'm bringing this up is this, right? For the people who are listening, and the aspiring knowledge entrepreneurs, who are looking to start something, even when I've had conversations in the past, um, there is a strong correlation between knowledge entrepreneurs who are succeeding, is that when they didn't start out with a business model thinking, after a market research, this is what I'm going to do. They were
Hmm.
doing something, and somehow they understood, they could also help people achieve the same thing, and they are the ones who have gone on to kind of see a lot of success. So that's
That.
a pattern that I also am seeing with you. So that's the reason I'm
Hmm.
bringing this up. And I maybe this is of value to people who are listening, so that's the reason I'm just reiterating on this fact.
Right. Yeah.
Ajay, another thing I wanted to talk to you about while we were having this conversation, right? There was this phase of yours when you were 20 to 25, or when you were doing the Happy Miles. Happy Miles was making a lot of money, but Ajay the person wasn't making a lot of money. Probably there would have been months when you made nothing, but you ended up paying money to the employees that you've employed. And then you said, to 2016, when you started classroom training for Happy Miles, it was the other way around. Ajay was taking all the money. This is, we are looking at two roles. One is an entrepreneur with a team, and then we're looking at a solopreneur. So how do you look at this, Ajay? Like, I know it is a subjective thing. Maybe for your business model, solopreneur is working well. But having been um, in both these roles, what do you have to say? And when should somebody stick to being a solopreneur and not get into being an entrepreneur with a team?
All right. So I would definitely suggest every aspiring entrepreneur, unless and otherwise you require a team. So I
Right,
can put this as resource,
right,
right? If you really require an office, go take it. If you really require a MacBook, then go buy it. If you really require a salesperson, then hire. Otherwise, you get it done yourself, right?
Right.
So this is seriously one important learning that Happy Miles had given me, right?
Right.
And I took it very seriously, right? And in fact, it is working great right now, right? So you really should have a team, right? Only when it is this time is affecting your productivity. For example, I'm doing the C. Frankly speaking, I told you, Jag, I learned digital marketing.
Right.
Initial phase of it, the digital marketing was done by myself,
Right.
right? I did the digital marketing when I started this thing off. I was not a perfectionist in digital marketing. I had rough ideas how to do it. Bought courses, I
Right.
learned those courses, I experimented it. It- I was getting in some people, so it was working. I started doing it, right? i
Right.
i was the one who did it first,
Right.
right? So I got into a team only when I felt that okay, I should focus more on the narrative, I should focus more on the product and serving my clients so that they are happy. So then I decided, okay, this I'm going to outsource because digital marketing was taking my time, right? If it was not for that, I would have stuck with digital marketing. I would have done that myself, right? So
Correct.
maybe you need a team only when your productivity is getting hurt. Until then, don't go for a team, don't go for a team, or don't go for any resource just for the sake of doing it because others are doing it or you think it is cool, right? But if it is really required, it's going to reflect in terms of your productivity as well as on your numbers, right?
Right.
Then that's the time when you have to do it. Or if you're seriously going to scale up, right? If there is a huge scope for you to scale up and you cannot be there everywhere, right?
Right.
Then yes, you need a team, right? So otherwise, I would definitely try to be as minimalistic as possible, make a lot of money, right? Spend on invest back in your business, right? And when you're cutting your other costs, right?
Right.
So those things, money saved is money earned,
Right.
right? So
Right.
this
Right.
profit again comes back into your pocket. So this is going to help you. You can reinvest it in the business. You can explore. You can experiment. You can spend it. You can go on a holiday, right? So
Right.
it becomes yours. When
Right.
you're doing this, just think whether it's necessary. And we are living in a world where you can hire a person for like 10 days, 15 days, 20 days. You can hire executive assistants, virtual assistants.
Right.
You have
Right.
all these things. So don't get into a full-time commitment for a temporary job. Doesn't really make sense, right? So how I evaluate is, for example, I want a trainer,
Right.
right? I'll see if the demand or the need is there for at least 3 to 4 months.
Right.
So the initial 3 to 4 months, I test it myself, right? I
Right.
train, and I see okay, consistently there are people, there is a requirement. Then maybe yes, it's taking my time. So now it's the time for me to bring in a other person into the picture. So I hire a
Right.
freelancer. Right. So
Got it.
this is the way to go about it. Is what I personally think. If you want to be successful in the game, right?
Got it.
So avoid cost cutting, not in terms of deliberate cost cutting, but these sort of unnecessary things.
Got it.
Only
Got
those
it.
things which are not necessary for your business.
Right.
You should not hesitate to cut it off, right? So that's my suggestion. And working with a team again, to answer your question, working with a team is a skill, right? Finding
Right.
the right team is, wow, that's another skill. I don't know how many entrepreneurs have nailed that. No, I zero, I think. Still people are trying to figure it out, right? So that's something that I'm not good at.
Mm.
From the previous experience, something that I learned is I'm not
Okay.
really good at building this team, and maybe I need more work on that. So right now I'm not getting into those arena. That place itself I'm not going. I'm just
Got
sticking
it.
on to my strength. When and then and there, whenever I need, I hire people, get the work done. That's it. That's pretty much it. Otherwise it's all going cool. So if your systems and process is in place, then you don't have to worry about all these things, right? Other additional resources. So have a strong system and process, right? And then you don't worry about all these things.
Got it, Ajay. And would I be right if I assume your theory about outsourcing work? Is it a given that solopreneur is profitable? First of all, is that money being paid out of the profits or even otherwise?
No, see, if you're a solopreneur, first
Hmm.
you should be in a position to fill in every person's shoe. When you're a solopreneur, it doesn't mean that you're just doing one job. You're doing multiple things,
Right.
right? And the moment if you're thinking of outsourcing, that naturally means that you're doing good. That's the reason why you go and outsource.
Mhm.
When things
Right.
are not going in your favor, you're that means it's not working out. The business itself is not working out, right? So you don't really go and outsource, right? First you try to
Because
figure this thing
the
out.
reason I'm asking this question is it's a chicken and egg kind of a situation, right? See, now you, Ajay, you have some sales skills. Fine. You're able to sell. Let us say somebody who's an expert in doing Canadian PR itself. There are a lot of situations, but I'm sticking to this because we are talking about it. Let's say somebody is an expert. Somebody says, look, you've got an invitation, 100% you will get a PR. There's no messing up in the documentation, let's say. But let's say he doesn't have a skill like your one of the major strengths of yours is the 2 hour webinar which you do. You have a certain story, you're able to communicate that well, and good for you. But what about a person who can do it for sure, but who's not able to do the 2 hour webinar like you? Now, should he hire somebody even before he's making a profit? Should he bet on somebody and hire somebody and do it? Is that a good route to take, or should that person improve his skills and then do the webinar himself? This is kind of I mean, I'm not trying to ask you the specific question, I'm just giving you an example. So my question would be like, should solopreneurs first pick up skills, and if they're outsourcing something, should they know that process themselves before outsourcing?
So frankly speaking, to answer your question, Jag, I personally feel solopreneurs should acquire skills, right? And it
Right.
all depends on what skill, right?
Right.
Is it an essential skill or not?
Mm,
If you're
mm.
a solopreneur, selling is an essential skill.
Right.
I personally believe selling is definitely an essential skill for any solopreneur, any entrepreneur for that matter. He
Right.
might be he might be selling something technical stuff, but he still needs to know how to
Needs to.
close it.
Right.
If he's not good at it, then he's not going to, go. It's not going to work out the way it's supposed
Right.
to work out, right?
Right. Right.
So it all depends on the skill. For example, if you had asked me like, Ajay, if at all it was coding for you, if at all, I have a software built. Okay,
Right.
so I have a software built. So why did you not try the software thing all by yourself? Why did you not learn software, and why didn't you build your own software? Then this is not my thing.
Right.
This is something I'm okay outsourcing, right?
Mm.
But when it comes to selling in a webinar, the personal brand is really important. You cannot say that, hey, this person has done it, so trust this person. I cannot say that this person is good at it, right? So i
Right.
cannot i cannot speak for you. You have to come in, and then people are obviously going to think, if this guy is really good at it, why is he not on the screen then,
Right.
right? Why is he hidden behind the screens, right? So obviously when you're coming into this kind of a business, you should be okay to show your face on the screen. There I see a lot of people, and I'm seeing a lot of ads which says that, you don't even have to show your face. I think people should not focus on that. This is focusing on weaknesses, right? So rather you should help people to convert their weakness into strength, right?
Right.
If you're
Right.
really afraid to show your face on screen, here is how you can actually do that. I'm going to teach it. That itself is a really good thing, so coming from an NLP background, I've done my NLP and stuff, right? So I understand this is really important, right?
Right.
This is an essential skill. Now you have come to this game, boss. You have come. Online is a field where you have already come, right? Yes, there are people who are really successful without showing the face, but that's just a small group, right? You
Right.
cannot bet on the small group.
Right.
So you should be okay in I'm not saying that you should definitely come record this, do that, no.
Right.
But you should be okay in doing that if your business demands to at some point in time. You
Got it.
cannot, at that point in time, you cannot come and tell, hey, no, I'm a shy person, I'm not good at it, so I'll hire another person, I'm going to outsource this thing alone. No, no. Certain things you cannot outsource, right?
Got
So
it.
this is the soul of my business. Webinars are the soul of my business. I cannot outsource this. Yes, there are
Got it.
people who can do it. I can teach them do it, I can do it, right? But it's not going to result the same when I'm doing it, right? So
Got it.
it's really important what things you source and what things you do it yourself, right?
Got it,
So
Ajay.
depends on the skills. Yeah.
No, it is, interesting. When you started off the answer, you said there are some essential things that you
Mm.
need to do, and there are some non-essential things that can be outsourced. I mean,
Correct.
is there, what would you consider, just, randomly, whatever you can think of with your experience? What would be those essential skills a solopreneur needs to pick up no matter what? It's a non-negotiable. And what are some of those non-essential things that a solopreneur can
Mm.
outsource?
So frankly speaking, communication, it's an
Okay.
essential skill.
Okay.
If you cannot communicate an idea, right, so you're not going to do it, right? And then from communication, selling and negotiation,
Right.
these things, right,
Right.
that's really essential. And the technicalities of the subject,
Right.
for example, I'm into Canadian PR space.
Right.
So when questions come on Canadian PR, I should be in a position to take. I cannot compromise on this particular thing. This is an essential skill. I should be an expert in the. Now people are calling themselves expert just by reading few books and trying out few things. That's not how it actually works. So you have to
Right.
go deep, and even and you should also, essential skill is saying no to certain things. That again
Right.
is an essential skill at this point in time. You should be
Right.
okay to saying no to few things, right? So these are all
Mm.
essential skills. Non-essential skills, speaking of all these non-essential skills, I would say coding is a non-essential skill. You don't need to know the codes. There are so many people who are good at it, so you can actually do it. So for example, you want a software, you can do it. Right now there are a lot of CRMs, right? You can do it. Researching is not a essential skill, because there are a lot of people who are really good at it. You pay them the money, like you pay them $100, $200, $300. They give you a complete research paper. Like you just need to tell them clearly what is required. And there
Right.
are people who are really good at all these things, right? And even the other, like on the creatives, right? So graphic designing, all
Right.
these things these are all not essential skills. You can anyways hire people for the same, and there are a lot of platforms which can get it done for you. So
Got it.
these are non-essential skills, but are some things which act as the core. For example, there comes a client, right? And you are charging him like maybe $50,000, and he wants to try negotiate that with you. How do you tackle that client, right?
Right.
When he wants to negotiate, that means he's already interested in your product. So you just have to close it. You don't have to
Right.
sell him again. You just have to close it. How are you going to do that, right?
Right.
So
Right.
these kind of things are really essential,
Got it.
right?
Got it.
So essential, non-essential, I think this is something that I personally feel are
Mm.
some of the skills, essential. Just give few examples on the
Of course,
essential.
of course. It's going to vary from business to business, but I
Ah,
think
correct.
on
Yeah.
the whole, you covered it right.
Mm.
Ajay, you also told about you built a software.
Mm.
So I mean, what from a software perspective, what are the needs for your business?
No, see, what I have built is right now it's an LMS tool,
Okay.
basically, which will mimic the computer delivered IELTS examination. So there was this
Oh, okay.
yeah, there is this company which is into building these type of tools, and we signed up with that particular company for the tool, and the company completely took care of the whole thing. I just have to pay them the money, right? So I know
Nice.
what my requirement is. I tell them my requirement, and they get it done. That's it.
Got
So
it.
this is again non-essential. I just pay them the money, and they get this thing done. And whatever money that I spent on the software, it's not directly costing me. I'm anyways going to put that on my
Passing
client,
on to
because
them.
that's going to be a value addition, right? So it's already been passed on to my clients. So
Right.
I'm not having this. So this is something that you can always play around with. This software is definitely not an essential skill,
Got it.
right? You can anytime get a person.
Got it, Ajay. And for a business like yours, right? What I mean when I say for a business like yours is this is what I mean. You're a solopreneur. You are offering a certain expertise of yours, and you use the webinar model of sourcing clients. And it's a certain model in itself. This model can be replicated for a number of other services that experts offer. Now, for people out there, what from a tools perspective, from a subscriptions perspective, right? You must be, if you're doing webinar, then you must be using a tool that offers the webinar solution, and then funnels and all these things. What are the essential tools that are needed to sustain a business like yours?
See, for me, there are few tools that I actually use. I use Zoom.
Okay,
Without that, nothing
that's
really
the tool you
works.
use for your webinars, I
I
believe.
use Zoom for my webinars.
Okay,
Initially, I was using a tool called Webinar Jam. There is
webinar
one thing
jam.
called as
Yes.
Webinar Jam. I
Yeah.
was using the pro version of it, but later, when I understood Zoom, it's pretty handy. It's quite easy to do it and stuff. And now I'm using the webinar version of it. So really good at this thing. So at the work that it does. So I'm happy with Zoom right now.
Right.
So, and Zoom is something that most people use as well. So webinars,
Yes.
a lot of
Yes.
people had doubts and confusions, but
Right.
Zoom is something they already have the office meeting on, so they're
Yes. Yes.
used to Zoom. So
Yes.
I started shifting it to Zoom now. Zoom is something that I used to have. Calendly for appointment scheduling and stuff. Obviously, this Calendly is very important.
You
That's the
use a
big.
pro version of it, is it?
I use a pro version of it,
Okay.
Calendly. All right, and for me, it's WhatsApp groups. That's it. I don't even have anything else here.
Oh,
So
cool.
people come directly from the ad to the WhatsApp group. So in the group, I share the link of the webinar, and then people, if they want to book an appointment and all, they schedule it on Calendly. That's pretty much it. So I've even the tools part, I've kept it minimal. In case if some integration has to be done, I use Zapier's for integrating two things, right? I also have another subscription called Lead Pages,
Okay.
which helps me in building the landing pages. So initially, if I want to make a landing page or something, WordPress is one big headache. So
Okay.
Lead Pages, I can get it done instantly. So it's like drag and drop kind of a builder,
Got it.
right? So that helps me build landing pages quickly. So Lead Pages. So these are the paid subscriptions that I have at this moment.
Got it, Ajay. And you said you are, also you have a self-paced course for IELTS, which for people who come as part of your PR consultancy service that you offer. So where have you hosted that? What are the tools one needs for hosting a self-paced course?
So what happened is like initially I was working with third party course platform providers,
Okay.
but since we have built this LMS right now, it has to be integrated. The course has to be integrated with the LMS. So I don't have an option other than sticking on to WordPress now. So it's on the WordPress platform right now. It's on my website. It's on the WordPress platform. So people can watch the lessons and then they can take up the test as well. Then watch the lessons, take a test. It's like built in that way.
Take a test in the sense similar to the IELTS thing that you're
Similar
talking
to
about.
that. It
Simulated.
mimics the
Oh,
simulated. Yeah, correct.
got
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
So this is the solution that you've built on your own. You're not subscribed to anybody.
No, no, no. I built it on my own. Yeah.
Got it. And you must be using a cloud service to host your servers on and stuff like that, right? Your website should be hosted somewhere, like a
Yeah.
AWS or Azure or something.
Not sure of where that the hosting part is done. It's all taken care by the team who's over there. So they take care of it. I've just asked them that, it should not be down at any point in time. Right. So this is not the Maple Assistance website. For the IELTS and the tool part, we have this
Okay.
thing called IELTS Rockstar. So that's
Okay.
the basic WordPress website. So you will not see it on the front end. So
I
we don't
understand. It needs
promote
a login.
IELTS Rockstar. So basically, this is for the clients of Maple Assistance only. So you will not find this SEO, no contents, nothing. This acts as a tool for all the people who sign up with Maple Assistance. I give them an individual access to this particular site. So that's how
And your expenditure to maintaining this IELTS Rockstar is on a monthly basis, on an annual basis.
on an annual basis, and I think it's around like 75, 80,000 bucks per
Okay.
year. Mm.
This
Yeah,
includes the cloud costs, everything,
yeah, correct.
the people who maintain it and everything.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Got it. Great, great, Ajay. So, Ajay, when I was talking to you, right, there was this other aspect that came in. You said you can, as a solopreneur, right, you are outsourcing a lot of things. And you spoke about very minute things from graphic designing, you can outsource research and all those things. I'm asking you this question from the perspective of two stakeholders involved here. One is fellow solopreneurs. Okay. As a solopreneur, how do you go about shortlisting these freelancers? Because it's a tricky thing, right? I mean, you trust somebody. See, for example, you need something in a week's time. You go find a freelancer, you have a week's time, you spend that week, you don't know if the product, what you're expecting, is going to come out of the freelancer or not. So there is a little bit of a risk involved. How do you tackle that part? And this is from a point of view of solopreneur, right? How do they go and choose the right people, and how do you make sure you're not overspending it? This is one thing. Second part of the question is from a freelancer's perspective. There are a lot of freelancers who are struggling to find jobs. As a solopreneur, as a guy who gives work, what would you like to tell the freelancers? What can they do better to get more work?
Okay. So, I mean, the answer to both the question is one and the same.
Okay.
I basically pick my people who vibe with me.
Okay.
So so the person whom I'm working with right now, the reason why I showed interest on his Instagram page, I came across his page on Instagram and I
Okay.
really liked his work, and I I wanted to approach him because there are a lot of people on the market right now.
Right.
You Digital marketing space, there are lakhs and lakhs of people, right?
Right. Right.
Hard to pick the one. This guy stood out because he was very quirky, right?
Okay.
He used memes
Mm,
to
mm.
communicate a message. So he was communicating a message, but at the same time, when you look at the message, you will have a small smile on your face.
Right.
That aspect really is something that I loved. Okay.
Right.
But that's not the one, that was the entry point. But the reason why I signed up with this particular person is because, or the reason why I would sign up with any person is because, so this is for all the people who are listening, all the freelancers who are listening. Any solopreneur, any entrepreneur is going to give you that gig, not because you're an expert. It is because you listen to them and you understand the problem first,
Mm.
right? So this is what a lot of freelancers, lot of agency owners, this is where they make a mistake, right?
Okay.
They
Okay.
don't listen to your business first. They don't understand you first. Before understanding, they start selling, they start pitching, right?
Right.
This is
Right.
where a lot of people they go wrong. So I have personally experienced this with digital marketing agencies. So when you go to a particular digital marketing agency, the first thing they do is they have this call, and during the call they show all these things where like they have helped 5x 10x 1 crore, this ad spend, this. That's not what I want, boss. What I want is, I want you to first understand me, my business, my pain point, suggest where things are getting leaked, then propose how you're going to fix it, then talk about your expert. That is how it actually comes, right?
Mm.
Most of the people, they start selling it from the word go,
Right.
but
Right.
selling happens only when you listen, right? So
Got it.
people, listening is a very very vital skill, especially if you are a freelancer.
Okay.
So first, it can be 1 hour, it can be 2 hours. Understand the business,
Right.
and then repeat it to the person
Right.
and see if you have understood it right. Right?
Right.
Because he might have told you something, you might have understood it different, and you might be trying to figure out a solution for something else. But check it with the person whether you have understood it right. Ask for a time, then come up with the plans, understand where the leak is happening, then come up with the plans, then you share it. So this is something that digital marketing agencies or freelancers, this is what is missing with a lot of people. They, right from the word go, they get a lead, they try to sell it to the lead. Don't do that,
Right.
right? So this is very important, and I choose people who are good listeners,
Right.
right? So it's very easy to get the flesh from the crowd, right? So it's like, not many people are good listeners, right?
Mm.
So but any person who wants to work with me, I see if he has that listening skill. Because
Right.
initially, if I'm not careful with this, then it's going to be a real big headache for me,
Yeah.
because this guy is not going to understand me, what I want, what I expect. He
Right.
will have something on his own mind and he'll be working around that. He will not understand what's there in my head,
Right.
right? So it'll be really hard to work with this particular person. So understand, listening and understanding is ultimatum when it comes to getting clients. So this is for the freelancers. So if you are a freelancer listening, make sure that you listen to your client, understand the need, and then start pitching or then start selling, right? Speak to him about how you can add value to the business, right? And that's when people get impressed. People are not impressed with you showing the results of others, right? So that's okay, that's just an entry point, but that alone cannot seal the deal, right? So they should feel that you can solve the problem. They should
Got it.
feel that you can add value. So the
Right.
moment someone feels it, then they want to work with you.
Got it. Got it, Ajay. This is excellent because I think this can really help people out there because there are a lot of people with skills but not really able to onboard new clients. But Ajay, this is the second part of that process. I have another question. When you start off, let's say you're working on something you think, okay, I need somebody to do this, what is the first thing that you do in your search for this person? Do you go to Google? Do you go to social media? Can you share some insight about this? Because I think this can also be a very, very insightful thing if you share.
See, what I do is I go to Google actually,
Okay, okay,
and when I figure out few people on the first page or on the second page, then I try go to the I go to their socials, and
okay,
I'll see
okay.
like
Hmm.
what these guys have done,
Right.
right? And when I'm looking at all these socials, I look for something creative.
Hmm.
I look for uniqueness.
Hmm.
I look for something quirky and
Hmm.
something funny, right?
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
this is my personality, right? So it
Got it.
should match my personality. And then from there, I shortlist few, have a
Got it.
word with them, and when you're having this initial conversation, you get to understand, you
Right.
get to understand something from the person, right?
Right.
Then that's how I generally close. So for me, initially it all starts with Google. Then
Google.
the socials really help, because to see whether that whatever I'm seeing on the Google really reflects their ideology. So socials really help to understand them slightly better. And then when I have a word with them, you get a fair understanding of how it's going to be like with them.
Got it, Ajay. And Ajay, are you, just because we are talking here, maybe somebody could benefit. Are you looking to hire any freelancers, or, what are your hiring plans like? Are there any opportunities for the people who are listening
Absolutely
to
yes.
this?
Absolutely yes. In terms of trainers, IELTS and language test trainers, if you're listening,
Hmm.
please do get in touch. Really would love to work with you. See if how I can accommodate you here in Maple Assistance. One,
Great.
and someone who's really good at designing, who's really
Hmm.
good at copywriting. Now that all the AI tools have come, it's all
Yeah.
become very robotic, so that human touch is missing.
Right.
So you can use technology, but again, the human touch has to be there. That's what
Yeah.
I personally feel.
Yeah.
So someone who's really good at copywriting and creatives and all these things, yeah, you can definitely get in touch. I may not be having a full-time job or offer for you, but for sure, this opportunity in terms of working with Maple Assistance, you'll definitely get.
Got it. And you pay on an hourly basis for the trainers.
Uh, for the trainers, yes, pay them on an hourly basis or based on sessions. Sometimes the session is 90 minutes, so I
Okay.
pay them based on sessions as
What's a
well.
rough figure if they want to get an idea, Ajay?
Anywhere between 300 to 500 is what's the market standard right now.
Got it.
And once I actually move to Canada, I'm having plans of doing personal training. So it's going to be one-on-one training.
One on one. Right.
So that time it's going to be a different revenue. It's not going to be per hour. It'll be per person. So that'll be a 60-40 commission based working, right? So
Right.
based on the results, based on the expertise, how well they are training, what's the results they are giving,
Right.
they can negotiate as well. I really don't mind. So that's another plan, that's something that's cooking up. So hopefully once I land in Canada, another 3-4 months time, I'll be starting that as well, personal training. Yeah.
Got it, Ajay. Great. Ajay, as far as from a business perspective, I think thank you so much for answering all the questions. I think I've also asked you a lot of questions which I myself have been curious about over the years, and now whatever I thought would contribute to the people that are listening to this. But one question that I cannot resist asking you, anybody, this question I have, anybody who's looking to, this is a personal question. So choose to answer in any capacity that you want. You've decided to move to a different country, from your birthplace. And I have a lot of questions around this. How can somebody move? So just want to understand, what is your thought process behind it? Why did you choose to go and settle down in another country? What about your family here? How have you processed all these things, and what is the why are you doing all this?
All right. So 2017, when I applied for my Canadian PR, it was actually a joke. It was out of
Okay.
curiosity, out of fascination. So initially, I know I never thought this would be this serious, this big, and all. But the moment I received the PR, that is when the reality hit. That's
Right.
when I started thinking, okay, how am I going to do this? What am I going to do? All those things started creeping in. And frankly speaking, I'm equally nervous as I'm excited. Like it's mutual. The feeling is mutual. Like it's 50% excitement and 50% nervousness, because it's completely a new country, and not sure what I'm going to do, how to set, I mean, setting up a business here in India where you know your things, right? That itself is difficult, but now I have to go re-establish the whole thing there in Canada. So it's going to be a Himalayan task for me, right? And going along with my family as well, two kids, wife, right? So all these things are definitely there, but I really want to give this thing a try. So the reason why, if you ask me, Ajay, if you ask me, Chug, Ajay, why are you moving to Canada, then my thing would be, it is to explore. It is simply to explore, because it is not that I'm not doing here well here in India. Frankly speaking, here in India I'm doing exceptionally well. I would be living a king's life if I'm sticking on to India. But somewhere I feel that God is calling me to go to Canada. It's like that. I'm a believer. I'm a firm believer in God, and I see a purpose in me going to Canada. I can feel that intuitively. I can feel that with me, and I personally think that I'm going to add a lot of value to people who are over there, and it's going to be a big platform for me, and I really don't want to miss that particular platform, right? It's a platform that I've got right now, a global platform, which I really want to explore and see how it goes from there, right? So right from 2013, 2014 onwards, I've got some multiple business ideas. I've got always had these ideas, and I've been seeing someone else doing it, and it's reaching some level in the market, right? So I have this eye for these ideas. Now I'm personally thinking of, once I land there in Canada this time, frankly speaking, give this a try, give the idea a try. So, and I happen to hear a lot of good things about Canada in terms of starting up, and funding and stuff, right? So maybe if government is also that supportive, why not we experiment something, right? So try build a big company, right? Provide jobs for people. Maybe if that's happening, great. Otherwise, you still learn something. You can always come back, right? So you can always come back. It's not that I'm done with India for good. No, it's never the case. My parents are still here. But one more advantage that I have is my family, in terms of my own sister, my wife's own brother. They are there. So again, anyway, so my parents are going to shuttle between India and Canada. So I'm not really going to miss them fully, because at least every 1 year or 2 years once can be here. And since my business is also established here in India, there will be a lot of scope for me to travel from Canada to India for doing this seminars, right? So that is a very good opportunity. Maybe do seminars in five big cities: Delhi, Bombay. You go to Ahmedabad, you go to Bangalore, come there and do a session, right, for all the aspirants. So it's going to be of a different value, because someone from Canada is coming and giving you a brief, right? So people are obviously going to come and attend, and that way it's going to help the business part as well. So right now I really don't have an answer, Jug, but maybe 6 months from now we'll again once again connect, so I
Yeah.
can give you a better clarity on how this thing is going to be, but
No, no,
still
I
taking
didn't
it.
expect clarity at all, Ajay. I mean, just your mindset, because from a very curious angle, that's
Mm,
about it. And also you told the logical part of all these things, right? I mean, you wanted to do a business, the opportunities are good there. Probably it's got a better ecosystem than India, and you're
mm,
at the bottom of all these things. You said it's more about exploring, and you want to probably
mm.
challenge yourself, and see, probably get out of your comfort zone a little bit.
Correct, that's
Uh,
exactly right.
how was your family, your mom, dad? How have they dealt with it? What about your wife's parents?
So the thing is that my wife is someone like who never wants to come out of the city. She's still not okay moving to Canada. We are just 36 days away from the flight, and she's still not okay moving to Canada. If given a chance, she'll stay back here in India. But the thing is that that's what we as a family feel, that there is a purpose for us to move as a family, right?
Mm.
And there is this intuitive thing. we
Got it.
we sit, we pray, we we believe, and there is an intuition that says that yes, you have to be there, otherwise it should not have happened, right? So
Mm. Okay.
easily Canada should not have happened to me,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm. Hmm.
So
Hmm.
it's more like I didn't choose Canada, it was like Canada choosing me,
Yeah. Yeah.
so yes, it's going to. This is one aspect of it. Second aspect of it, if you talk from a personal point of view, I am entering a zone which is very dangerous. That is, I'm entering a deep comfort zone. I have
Right.
my parents here. My children are put in a very good school, and I have everything that I want. I can buy a house, maybe a couple of houses here, and I can settle down for good. Maybe if I continue doing this in 1 or 2 years, my life is going to be settled for good. Maybe for another 2 generations, I can save money, but that's a very dangerous zone. Then you start falling down, right? More comfort you get, you're not growing. So I felt that okay, I should challenge myself. Right,
Okay.
34
Okay.
years I have been here in this place. So
Right.
I said enough. So let's try to go out, see how that life is. My sister, she has at least been to Chennai. She was there for work. My wife, she has been on a hostel. I've
Right.
never come out of my house. It's not even 3 4 days. I've been there without seeing my parents. This is going to be the first long break, actually. It's really going to be challenging. It's going to be challenging for my parents as well because my kids grew up here. I
Right.
stay with my parents. My kids all grew up here.
Right.
And whether they miss me or not, they're definitely going to miss my kids for sure.
Yeah.
And that's there. And the same applies with my wife's parents as well, with my in-laws as well. They're very
Right.
close to my wife. They're very close to my kids, and it's closely knit family. And obviously, this distance is definitely going to pinch them for sure.
Right.
But hoping that since the whole family is there now, when I go there, it's like my side of the family and my wife's side of the family, they're there in Canada. So obviously, the parents can come there anytime and spend some quality time with us. So hopefully, yeah,
It's very interesting that you spoke about, comfort zone can get dangerous, and this is one thing I think you must have heard. Easy times create tough men, tough people,
correct.
and tough times create
Mm.
sorry, easy times create tough people, and then tough times create great people, and then again
Mhm.
great people create good times, and then good
It's
times create weak people.
big people. Correct, correct, correct.
And probably that's what I remembered when you said comfort zone. Too much of comfort zone is
Too
too
much of
dangerous.
comfort can actually lead you to complacency, and then
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
going to take you nowhere. Then your
yeah.
growth is stunt. And if you want to be an entrepreneur, if you want to establish something, then this is not the right place, right?
Right,
And
right.
I'm passionate. Sometimes when the more you get, you get settled, right? So
Yes, yes.
I don't want to settle, right? Both the things are there in me. One part of me says, hey, you are doing really good, settle down. Other part says, no, no, I know it's dangerous. So this is not the reason why I came to business. I came to
Right.
business for something else, right? So this is something I could have even achieved if I was working somewhere. I become the vice president, I make good money, I travel the world. So this is something else, right? So I want to see the depth of it. So it's a challenge
Amazing.
that I'm taking it on myself. Yeah.
Got it. And which part are you going to go to now? Which city?
I'll be landing in
Okay,
Toronto,
okay,
Ontario, and
okay. That's where your family also lives. Your
that's where my
sister.
family lives, and that's exactly why I'm landing here. Otherwise, my province is totally different. I want to live in another province, which is less happening, and
Which is
like
that?
that. I want to go to Calgary. It's in Alberta, Calgary,
It's more
but
northern part of Canada. Am I
yeah,
correct?
it's very cold. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously Canada is harsh in terms of climate
The
for sure,
weather.
but it's
Hmm.
yeah, weather is really harsh. But still, that's less happening, and it's more scenic. I want to be there, so hopefully I'm going to experiment. I'm going to see how this thing goes, and I can move anytime I want inside Canada. So that's definitely not going to be a problem. So
Got it,
if
Ajay.
it's something that in cards, maybe in another 2 3 years, I'll
Got
come
it.
to know.
Great, Ajay. It was a pleasure talking to you. Very, very interesting story of yours. And I wish you all the very best. Good luck on your journey. And we will probably, I'll get in touch with you after some months and see, where you are. And I'd love to probably have another casual podcast about your new life there. And, we could probably talk about that as well.
Of course, definitely, Jack. Thank you so much for this opportunity. You know, if the message is at least helping one or
Yeah,
two,
yeah,
this is worth it, totally worth it, right?
yeah,
So that's the ultimate objective. That's the ultimate reason why we are doing what we are doing.
yeah,
So if this is going to really help a budding entrepreneur or any entrepreneur for that matter,
yeah,
then great. We have done a good job then. Yeah. And for sure,
yeah,
we let's connect once again. So be in
yeah.
touch. I'll also be in
Sure.
touch with you. And once I'm there in Canada, let's get connected and
Yeah.
possibly we'll catch up once again for sure. Thank you so much for having me on the show, Jack.
It's been a pleasure, Ajay.